I want you to tell all your friends about me.
What are you?
I'm Batman.
It's not college basketball. It's Clarence! Let's get ready to rumble! Feel the fires into the rear. It's nice and only know how to wear.
What is up, Friday Nighters? Welcome back to another edition of Just Another Friday Night. I'm one of your two hosts, I'm Chuck.
I'm Double A.
That's Adamantium Adam, guys.
Guys, I'm happy it's Friday.
Yeah.
I've been working outside all week. It's cold. It's gonna get even colder this weekend, so I'm enjoying myself today.
You know what they say, Double A? They say it's 5 o'clock somewhere, right? Yeah. Well, guess what? It's 5 o'clock right here, right now. So we got some cold beers.
Yeah.
From the great country of Mexico. So we're enjoying some of that right there.
Which is in my cup right now.
So cheers to you all, Friday Nighters. We hope that you, the Friday Night faithful, are home already.
And no devil.
There you go, preparing for the holidays. And I think I also got some, what do I got here?
What do you got? Oh,
Soul.
Man.
The sun?
Yeah. Nice.
I think we got a theme going, Double
A.
Nice. Yeah, Double A. So, man, adrenalize me. Is anything going on in the world of pop culture and news? And things
Christmas has already come upon us.
Yeah, Christmas has descended.
We got, I don't know. Would you say maybe the long-awaited sequel of A Christmas Story Part 2 now, like an actual sequel? Because there has been
garbage that
there
came.
has been two sequels.
Oh wow,
before
two.
This, two of them.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so now we actually got with most of the original cast.
Yeah,
you know, it hit up upon HBO Max yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen anything. Surprisingly, I thought I was going to see everyone gushing
Spoilers,
about it. Yeah,
right? Yeah.
I
Me neither.
Anyone...
In fact, it was me listening to the Tis the Podcast guys that reminded me that it was already out.
But I mean, that was for a long time, almost like the king of the Christmas movies.
Yeah,
you know, for a long time.
24 hours on TNT
and TBS.
24 hours of A Christmas Story. Yeah. If you go 24 hours, that's pretty big, right?
My brother has tortured a lot of people. People watch.
Yeah, no one's allowed to change it. I remember the rules. So yeah.
So we got that, and then we got 2 episodes of the Tim Allen franchise, The Santa Claus, on Disney Plus. 2 episodes has arrived.
He's returning to the suit. I have not seen any of that. I started The Christmas Story, but it was kind of late, and I kind of fell asleep.
I've seen, I haven't even started. I'm hoping that I'm gonna watch it sometime this week.
Definitely.
I just don't know when.
Definitely.
Santa Claus, I've seen the franchise. I really still only like the first one. I don't know if I'm gonna see this one. Maybe I will. Maybe I'm not. I'm not too sure.
That's the one that's kind of burned in my memory. The first one. If you ask me what happened to the other 2, I don't really remember.
The other 2 kind of go way, way too far. I don't know with other stuff. Like, it just didn't have that homey feel. The first one, it doesn't have that Christmas feel. The first one, which is weird saying that for me, because part 2 and 3, he's fully Santa Claus.
Yeah, he's already in the mix. Maybe that's kind of the magic of the first one. Like,
it is because it's
Claus,
so simple.
You know what I mean?
But it's so simple too, and there's not like a lot of effects. Yeah, and it's a really personal story in that one.
I liked him kind of going through it too, like figuring it out, and obviously his kid, being.
May watch it, may not. I don't know, because it looks like he's supposed to be retiring. Yeah. Which I didn't think he could do. I thought you have to die. So
give up the mantle, right?
Yeah. So I may watch it, may not. I'm not too sure.
Okay. Kind of around that news, and I've just been seeing things that are gonna come out, but we're gonna obviously get that David Harbour one, right? Violent Night.
Oh yes,
and it looks like an action one with who's the villain they show? John Leguizamo, right? Is it John
Leguizamo? Really?
Is it him?
I don't know.
I don't know. I think it was him. And I was like, okay, this is who's the bad guy, whatever.
So we got that coming up. I mean, there's a movie that my wife is over the moon about, Disenchanted. She loves that Amy Adams movie Enchanted from 2007. So she's like really excited about seeing this new one. Speaking of Amy Adams, she says a few articles have says that she has not been approached to play Lois again.
That's a travesty. It's Joe trying on here. Joe, guess what?
Works.
Success, my friend.
Works, buddy.
Yeah, it must be the Mexican beer flowing tonight. It's got the good things going for Joe. You look good surrounded in green. There's your beautiful.
No kidding, right? Yeah, you do.
And Joe says daylight savings. You got y'all too.
We've been kind of early. I think our CM Chuck's kind of like newish schedule, so we've been able to kind of do some of these episodes a little bit earlier.
Yeah, we like to give it to you early, quick, and hard and fast. Ooh, I don't know, maybe not. So I mean, that's on the fast side, but
yeah. So that's already come upon us. Some DC kind of news. I don't know if we talked about this yet or not. I think we were talking about it in the car Monday that apparently Dwayne Johnson and James Gunn are kind of getting into it a little bit.
Yeah, I heard
about where the main focus should be.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of stupid to me on The Rock's part. The Rock wants Black Adam to almost be like the central figure. And, you know, I love Black Adam and everything, but, you know, the way the box office is, I don't know. It's not showing that everyone's loving the Black Adam character too much. It's making a lot, but like apparently it needs to make like almost 700 million. It's not even going to come close to
really?
to doing that to break even.
I hadn't heard that part.
I'm with James Gunn. He wants it to focus on Superman, which, duh, you know.
Makes sense.
WWF, you focus on Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold. WCW,
Cena.
WCW, you focus on Nature Boy, Sting,
Goldberg,
you know, the NWO. You don't focus on the other guy.
I don't think you can just kind of go in and also self-proclaim you're going to be like, I'm going to be the new powerhouse. And like, I mean, yeah, you're the powerhouse. You're the Rock. And it was a great movie. Obviously, we covered it. We loved it. I want to see more Black Adam. But for him
to butt heads and saying Black Adam should be the main guy and that he should never be in the Captain Marvel movie, the Shazam 2 movie, I'm like, yeah, but you know, I mean, it's.
Well, I don't like Zachary Levi's Shazam.
I don't, but
if anything, I'd have him mop the floor with him real quick.
I don't see him either. Like, it's just, but it's kind of feels stupid that your main enemy is never going to be in that franchise's movies.
Well, why can't Shazam come in his movies?
Okay, but he doesn't even want that either.
Oh yeah, I'd have him come in and be like a squash match though, and I'd have him pretty much beat him quick and pretty much tell him like, you're not ready, like, and don't come at me again until you are, because next time
they just need to do something more serious with Captain Marvel.
Kingdom Come.
I don't know. Yeah.
I would like that.
Oh man, Kingdom Come chapter Shazam would kick Black Adam's ass real bad.
I think Joe wants to cast Roman Reigns as Shazam. Oh, terrible casting, Joe. Work on it.
Oh man.
CM mops floors. I mean, for the right price, I'll do just about anything. So yeah, Rizzo in the house. What's up, Riz? We appreciate you being here,
guys. What's up, guys?
Yeah, man, we appreciate both you guys being here. Nice and early, right? So you guys can still go out and party tonight.
And then I read somewhere too where James Gunn is saying for sure that there will not be 4 Batmans in his DC universe.
I mean, maybe that's a good thing, right?
But how is that going to work out? Because now it's kind of like, now you guys teased Michael Keaton. That's why we wanted to see the Flash movie was to see Michael Keaton, but now you're saying he might be out.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck was saying he was going to come back, but now you're saying he's out. So now we got Robert Pattinson where he's not even connected to the DC universe anymore. I mean,
yeah.
You know, so it's like kind of like great. So now we're not going to get Batman anymore.
They killed that Batgirl movie under the old guy. So it's like, is that going to get resurrected? I mean, like, it seems kind of a waste of money to film an entire movie and not ever release it.
That's weird. That is really weird.
And obviously, that Penguin show is supposedly still coming. So it's like
and that too. But
there's just too much going on.
But it's like I said, that Batman universe is completely different from this main universe.
Right.
You know, I mean,
right.
I don't know.
Joe says CMC Namor. Yeah, definitely. For Roman Reigns, yeah. I mean, you know, he says party. Good one, Rizzo there. Rizzo, great picture there. That's got all the cast of characters there. Now watch this. Us just the Friday.
What do you think? I mean, James Gunn has this is a huge hurdle. Kevin Feige, he was smart. He got it when it was clean. When the slate was clean, he knew where he wanted to go with it. James Gunn now has all this past behind him. He's trying to fix it. He's trying to go forward, but now it's a crisis on Infinite Earth.
It definitely is. Well, I mean, I think that you want to work with your biggest star, which is The Rock. So come to an agreement or whatever. The guy got Henry Cavill back in the fold. That's a good thing, right?
They're gonna have to make Henry Cavill like big time, like the guy. Like, if they make a Man of Steel Part 2, it's gonna have to make $1 billion to justify him being.
See, there's the thing too, Double A, is like if their movies aren't bringing it in, it's like, okay, I mean, like The Rock is your star power or whatever. You know, I mean, again, like I said, he got Henry Cavill back in the fold. It's like you know. And it's easy for us to call Gunn the new Feige, but it's like you got to do Feige.
Oh no, I'm not saying that.
Yeah,
No.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think people want that. You know what I mean? Like, I want that because I want them to have a guy that can do that for them. You know what I mean? Like, you know,
I don't know, like James Gunn. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if he can do it. Like, I wasn't really happy when they said he was going to be taking over the DC universe because I was like, he's been doing small scale stuff that's been doing great work.
Yeah.
But man, I don't want to see those characters fill up the DC universe. Like he's talking about Jason Momoa being Lobo. I was like,
he's already Aquaman.
Really? Like now you want to make this dude like two fucking dudes? Like
I mean, I heard Carl Urban's name. I kind of like Carl Urban as Lobo
too. Like I like Lobo, but man, now you're bringing in another franchise that probably no one's really asking for.
Right.
Get on with Lantern.
Right.
Bring out that fucking Flash movie.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I want to see the Justice League.
Finish fleshing out your Justice
Man
League.
of Steel too.
Yeah. I
don't want to see Lobo. Like I think I read somewhere too that he was like saying something about doing a Mr. Terrific movie. I was like, are you fucking kidding? Like,
well, I guess he is because he's a dominant black character in the DC.
Yeah, but I mean,
I don't know too much about that character.
Exactly.
I mean, we're getting the Blue Beetle thing,
right? And even that too. Like, it's cool that our boy's in there, but
yeah,
man, Blue Beetle. I mean,
I know nothing about the Blue Beetle. So,
I don't know either.
Yeah. With regards to Rizzo's, he says, Gunn dealing with some egos there, absolutely. Yes. And then to Rizzo's comment, which he said, did they his thigh is actually up.
Yeah, it's covered.
You can't see, so I don't know. Did he get superimposed?
I don't remember that.
I'll take.
I wasn't looking at Namor's.
I know. the literal trouser trout there. Roman can beat some sense into Rock at WrestleMania. Whoa.
I don't know because he was already in that Hobbs movie.
Hobbs and Shaw. Yeah.
Remember Roman was in there?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
It wasn't a shining moment in the Fast and Furious.
Look, pretty much like it's kind of this is kind of showing like The Rock's drawing power without China.
Yeah, and
that's really hurting his star power because apparently his movies always do well in China.
Yep. They think he's Chinese. Probably they think he's got.
I don't know. He made it pretty clear he's half Samoan, half black. So.
I mean, it's interesting though because like Hasselhoff has said he gets a lot of popularity in Germany because they think that he's. I mean, I'm sure he's got German origins, you know. So you know how the foreigner crowds get. What were they saying recently about the football? That football was that they had real rabid crowds. Was it football? No, it wasn't football. It was
soccer.
No, it was something else that they did in Europe. Was it Europe?
I know Brady played in Germany.
Maybe it was that. Maybe it was that. And they were saying that the crowd was really high or whatever. And they were like, man, that could make them a contender. You know, like obviously those crowds are exciting. We've seen boxing overseas and concerts overseas. They sing along, they get hype, you know.
Yeah, they do.
You know, that's great for TV, I think. So let's see. Joe also says here, Fat Man and Batman said they cut out Namor's
Batman on Batman.
That's the Fat Man Beyond show, Kevin Smith's show.
Oh, okay. So they cut out Namor's package.
I did not know that. I have to hear. I haven't heard their episode yet. In the news, apparently, VFX artist was tasked with erasing his bones. Oh, damn. Okay. Well, good to know our boy Tenoch is packing. You know what I mean?
I didn't even realize
that is not from what I know a feature of our culture is known for. I want to swing back real quick. Speaking of junk and swinging, double A back to speaking of The Rock. He's gonna be and Christmas. He's gonna be in a Christmas flick, right? Chris Evans and J.K. Simmons as Santa, right? So it's like you've got Black Adam, Cap, and J. Jonah in a Christmas movie. That looks kind of cool to me. I want to say there was one other Christmas movie that I saw that's coming out that had like big stars like that. And I was like, oh shit, everyone's kind of getting another Christmas movie. But while I think of that, I did see that. You see they're going to do the 80 for Brady movie. The 4 older ladies are seeking out tickets to the Super Bowl, and it's apparently got guest appearances from Tom Brady and Gronkowski.
Damn.
It's like Lily Tomlin, Sally Field.
I'm glad he's doing well because apparently Giselle is earning whatever, and then moved on.
Yeah.
She's taking her martial artist.
The kid went, speak for yourself, Chucky. Okay, all right. Can do. Is that regarding the Hobbs and Shaw movie? Got the dude from Stranger Things. Yeah, that's the we were talking about that David Harbour being in the Violet Night, which is coming out soon, I think. But this is a separate movie with J.K. Simmons as as
solely
Santa,
separate. Yeah,
and I don't know what Chris Evans' role is, but The Rock looks like he's in some kind of superhero type outfit too. So
yeah,
it's cool that they're doing a Christmas movie together.
Oh, I'm sure he's been waiting for Captain America to be available.
Oh yeah, he wants to rub shoulders with all the big superheroes.
He
You know what I
does.
mean? Which no fault on him. The Rocket's great. You know what I mean? So it says here. Regarding the speak for myself there. all right, Joe, can't do. All right. Hey.
No, I actually heard we're pretty decent on our junk packages.
There we go.
Yeah,
we'll
I heard we're not the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, all right. What does she say in Good Will Hunting? She's like, "You and your Irish curse."
yeah, that sucks.
But so just that's kind of swinging it back to, I guess, swinging it to my mind now. But about Christmas movies and stuff like that. But yeah, I hope it works out for DC. I hope it works out for Gunn.
I hope so too, man. Like, I've been wanting a Green Lantern movie. I've been wanting another shot at Superman movie.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Batman's always going to be there. They're always going to make it.
Yeah.
Like, I saw some stupid comment. Speaking of that, like, somebody said, like, yeah, Marvel does great business, but we have Batman. I'm like, and see, that's where DC's problem always starts, is we have Batman. So we're going to throw Batman at you.
Yeah, it's called a one-trick pony, guys. You got to do a little bit better than that. You know what I mean? And I will say, for the most part,
so much better character.
Yeah, for the most part, that stuff is good or whatever.
It is good.
I mean? Like,
and most of DC's classic stories are Batman stories,
right?
And that's DC's fault for doing that.
Yes, but again, it's like when you have a character that is kind of just a guy, it's going to make it easy to write these stories that are of him triumphing over an insurmountable odd. It's kind of like
when they do it right, and when they do it right, it's great. It's really fucking good. You know, I mean, the Batman the Animated Series is still held in high regard.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
I mean,
and how about those Kevin Conroy tributes, man? Dude, I've been crying all week long. It's just been like, I mean, they get more beautiful, more poetic, each one.
It just goes to show you just how much generations he affected. Like we said last week, it has to be at least 3 generations, at least, that have been able to witness him, you know?
Joe giving you props for crediting the packages there. He says, I guess I'll start drinking early. Well, we hope that you do, Joe. Have a toast with us. Jason says, what's up, bros? What's up, Jason? You're wearing the right outfit in that picture for tonight. And then there we go. Joe says
they go to that Batman. Well, yeah, they sure do.
Yeah, and Rizzo says, I gotta bounce, but I'll catch a replay on YouTube. Have a great show. Right, thanks so much, Rizzo. We appreciate you being here, bud. Yeah, man. Like I said, and then there's so much Batman. In other words, it's already like we already got the Penguin show coming from the Pattinson Batman. We already got the Joaquin Phoenix second Joker movie coming.
That's right.
And I imagine they're gonna hopefully, like they said, they're gonna focus on him and Harley Quinn, but it's gonna be a musical, which is like okay, but no mention of Batman, like in a year
still
2
the
type
Batman
movie.
Tree.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, good on Joker. Shit, they found the well too, another well,
and Harley too. Yeah,
where they don't even need Batman. Honestly,
yeah,
you know?
And Harley too.
They could do a whole movie. Well, Harley, she's kind of been up and down.
You think so?
Yeah, like
people seem to like the Margot Robbie. I feel like she's a little bit like
they like the Margot Robbie, but it's like Birds of Prey was a flop.
Yeah, but it's not a bad movie.
No, but it was a flop.
Yes.
The Suicide Squad, as good as we liked it, was a flop.
Wow, the Suicide Squad, the Idris Elba one.
Yes.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was a flop. Suicide Squad was a big hit. I mean, that was pre-pandemic. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I don't know if it was the last of Will Smith's juice, honestly, more than Margot Robbie.
Or the fact that we were getting that character live action.
Yeah.
And, we were getting
and then it kind of tells you something too. I mean, if they're not going to get Margot Robbie, they're getting, Lady Gaga. I mean, it's kind of like, well,
yeah, they're moving
now, and that's the other thing
board,
too. Now it's like now you got 2 Harley Quinns.
So it's like, what do you do? There's got to be some cleaning up there. You know what I mean? Like, if you're gonna tell a story, tell that story. Bad. Like Nolan did his trilogy and then it's out. You know what I mean? Like those characters are to rest. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I wish them all the luck because it just means more and better content for us.
We do too. I was like, dude, it sucks. It's just so much mess.
Well, like I was telling you too about, I told you a couple weeks ago about the game, right? The Gotham Knights game or whatever. Like I did pick it up and I have been playing it or whatever. It is the Tim Drake Robin. So it's
Tim Drake.
Jason Todd Red Hood. It's Batgirl. It's Tim Drake Robin, and then it's Nightwing or whatever. And of course, the initial story starts out with Batman dying by Ra's hand, Ra's al Ghul. So it's about them kind of like being like, okay, it's up to us to kind of keep Gotham safe and all that or whatever. And it's pretty badass. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, oh, this is cool. I mean, like obviously, his presence looms large or whatever, but this is about the family that he essentially helped start, the Bat family, and you know, they can carry their own weight.
Speaking of that, real quick, I was reading, man, I forgot to tell, I don't know why I didn't tell you, because he probably would have picked it up. So supposedly, I don't know, one of the Batman comics, supposedly they turned all the Bat family, somehow someone has turned all the Bat family against Batman. And he's kind of going through a gauntlet of all of them. Well, they say the last one, Nightwing.
Nice.
And Batman is actually kind of worried, like in the lines, he goes like, you know, he was my first protege, the one I'm most proud of, and he is the deadliest one out of all of them. And they're saying he gives Batman a hell of a fight.
Love that.
He loses. That's the only thing that kind of
don't
sucks.
love that.
But what they're saying now is a really badass issue that them two, like, this is like Nightwing going hard.
Yeah.
On Batman.
Yeah.
And even Batman's like, shit, this dude is like really good. He's like the best hand-to-hand fighter out of all the groups. He's the best one I've ever had, the best people I ever had.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's
damn, that's awesome.
It's really cool. I got to find it so you can
I want
see
to pick that up.
Man, I mean, they actually draw Batman like looking worried, you know, like looking really scared, like to go up against Nightwing. And I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, totally, man. And I was just
we love Nightwing. We
love Nightwing.
We praise Nightwing so much. We kind of wish Robert Pattinson was Nightwing.
Yeah, the Batman that could have been or whatever. You know, we wanted real bad to see Joseph Gordon-Levitt, like, you know, if Nolan would have did one more, that story is left hanging or whatever. You know what I mean? So
still with the dick
Joe. Yeah, there we go. That's Joe. That's now the now watch this humor there. The dick jokes. Yeah, but
Richard Grayson.
I would love to see you know, a Nightwing live action movie. You know, we have Titans. Titans is okay. It's fine.
That's
it's
what I'm saying.
Intro.
Like,
you know,
stop with Lobo. Stop with Mr. Terrific. Make a Nightwing movie.
Yeah,
make it away from Batman. Make it where he's on his own, you know.
Or shit, if James Gunn wants to clean up some Batmans, it's like, do that story, kill a Batman, and then like that would draw people in or whatever. You know, you don't have to kill him in the first 5 minutes, kill him in the first 30 minutes or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like, and then see like, oh, what happens now? You know what I mean? Like, that's an interesting story. That's why I think it makes an interesting game. You know?
Yeah.
Anything else, Double A?
Yeah. So this past weekend, real quick, I got to meet a really big like hero of mine. She was the lead singer of the Runaways. I love the Runaways. They were a really great. Oh, geez. They were a really great female rock band that
Maybe
had
the
Joan Jett,
first,
Lita.
no,
Yes,
the first, yeah, like
Joan Jett, Lita Ford, Cherie Currie, Sandy, and I forgot the bass player, but they were a really great band. And Cherie Currie actually came to San Antonio. Kings of Horror got to bring her in. I had my CD autograph from her.
Yeah,
to Adam Cherie Currie. And what's cool about this packaging, because the albums are really expensive to buy. This one has the Cherie Currie albums.
Oh, nice.
On here
the inside.
So she only did like 2 albums, 1 and 2, and then a live album from Japan.
Very
so
badass.
That's what's really cool about this little box set here. And this one now goes for really expensive on eBay and shit like that. So
what's this album called, though?
This one is called The Runaways, the Mercury Albums Anthology. Okay. But it's really, she only did like these 3 albums with the Runaways, and really great albums, really has really good riffs, you know, singing is really good, you know. And then this came with it.
Joe called it right there with the cherry bomb.
This came with it too.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's really cool, you know.
That's
so great. I was like stoked. I was really excited. I couldn't believe it. I'm a huge fan of the Runaways.
If you guys check us out on YouTube, or if you're listening on Spotify, you can look down at your device or whatever you're listening Spotify. You can see imagery of what Double A just referenced.
I went real quick to Michael's Pins and Horrors. I'm not too sure. I tagged them out.
Okay.
So you can see it when we have this picture on Instagram. And really cool place too. That's a really cool place. But I went there almost like as soon as she got there. I was in line. You know, I got to speak with her for a little bit.
Nice.
It's just really cool. I mean, really, really cool. You don't think you're ever going to meet someone like that, and then they bring her. And
yeah,
it was really cheap too. It wasn't really expensive at all. And then CM told me that, you know, his dad was a huge fan of the Runaways too, and he even has an LP. And I was
the
like,
one that was in the second.
Yes,
yes. The Noisiest Ladies,
Queens of Noise.
Queens of Noise. Yeah, that's the exact album.
His pop had this album on LP, and I read it. It was like she wrote to Charles, but it was like stay free or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And I was like, man, that's badass.
He was telling her his whole life story. He got
And that's
real
awesome.
fanboy.
I mean,
yeah.
I've never really known CM's dad
Me
like
neither.
to like just kind of go off like that. When he
Yeah.
was telling me, I was like, man, I got to hear this story. I want to hear it tonight, though.
Yeah.
Like of all the stuff that your dad was saying.
So pretty much he was telling her that, he knew that they got their name because they ran away, and he was like, he ran away too, which he did from his mom, and he was same with his grandmother, who mainly raised him, whatever. That's why he ended up going to Highlands.
Okay.
He was over his grandmother there, which was his dad's parents, who he's not close with his dad, but he was very close with his parents.
Okay.
They're awesome. That's my great grandma and great grandpa. They live right there on Avant Street, right near Highlands.
Oh, okay.
So, like, without all that happening, like, he wouldn't have met my mom, and like I wouldn't be here. Me and Double A, wouldn't know each other.
Yeah, seriously.
So he was telling her that. She was saying that was really sad.
I mean,
that she's glad it worked out for him. He told her, he goes, no, it's not. He goes, like because of that, like all these other things happen, and he was like, this is my son, this is my grandson, you know what I mean? So,
yeah, I mean, like, I'm serious. Like, I've never known CM's dad to like, do any of that stuff. And for him to actually have an album, I was like, wow. I was like, I told CM here, I was like, he has a fucking album. He has a Runaways album.
When you told me they were hard to find, it blew my mind. I was telling my dad all casually about it, right? Like, we went to breakfast, not just to mention, I was like, hey, Adam went to go see the thing, and he was like, well, she's gonna be here, no way. And I was like, yeah. I was like, well, she's here today at this thing, but tomorrow she's gonna be at the Wonderland. And he's like, well, I want to go. Well, I have one of their albums, and I right away I was like, this guy's full of shit. Is that? I was just like, okay, because he'd given all his vinyl to my sister like some time ago, whatever. And like, I mean, I hadn't gone through all of it, but I just didn't think. I was like, that's kind of rare, right? And sure enough, it was there, whatever. But actually, it's in rough shape. Number one.
No, but still, it's really cool to have. I mean, those things are so hard because the Runaways were not a big band. They weren't really big at all. They were only big in Japan. That's why they have the live album from Japan. For some reason, they hit it huge in Japan. But, it's one of those things against him where it's kind of like not selling, but low print run. Yeah. That kind of deal. It's so they're more expensive, because the low print run. And so, when you look at eBay, when you look at Amazon, those LPs are like over $40, $50.
Wow.
Easy. Probably more if they're really in better condition. And, like I said, when I got into them, I was like 12, 13, and the CDs were fucking expensive. I was like, what was I going to do? Ask my dad for $30 so I can buy a CD?
Right.
I'm like, yeah, he would have just laughed at me.
Yeah.
I was too young to have a job by that point. I was like, golly. So,
and it's funny too, because in the corner of the album, I don't know if you can see it, but there's like, my mom got into this like labeling phase where she was labeling everything.
Oh, really?
So she took a sticker and wrote his name on it because like she was separating her vinyl from his.
Oh,
so there's like a label on the corner that says his name, Charles Morello. And he's like, "Man, your mom put this fucking sticker on here." I was like, "Oh, there goes the value, Dad." I was like, "That's yours now." So
yeah, our cousin Tony hates stickers on anything.
Yeah. And on the back of one of these Funkos, there's a sticker with the price from Dragon's Lair, and I'm like, come on, Dragon's Lair, stick shit up.
But super excited, and you can see CM's dad was way excited, super excited. I'm glad he got to meet her. I'm glad you even told him that I was meeting her.
Yeah, like he literally did. Like normally, I can't stop talking, right? So it's like he didn't let me talk at all. Like he talked to her the whole time. At the very end, I was like, so nice to meet you, like huge fan of you, and then like shook her hand real quick, and that was it.
And I told Sam too, I was like, this is a pretty big deal, the Runaways were pioneers and all that, and Cherie Curry, Cherry Bomb, that song has entered mainstream pretty hard these last 20 years, so.
And they did that movie, right, with Kristen Stewart,
and that was a really good movie.
Dakota
Fanning. That was a really good movie, and they have a really good documentary too. Sam, can you get it? It's right there by that Coraline pick. It's right there real quick. They have this really cool documentary they released in 2004 about the Runaways, which is a really good doc. Mostly everybody is here except for Joan Jett. Joan Jett, for whatever reason, does not come out about stuff about the Runaways.
They have beef?
It seems like they do, which is weird. But everyone has been cool about it. Like Lita Ford has said that she would love to do everyone has said they've been on board. They would love to be on board.
Yeah.
This one's called Edge Play, a film about the Runaways. It's a really good doc. I should probably even do this so your dad can see it.
Yeah.
It's a really good doc. Like I said, the only one that's not here is Joan Jett, but everybody else is here. Like all the main people are in this doc.
I wonder what her deal is.
Man, she just...
That's awesome. For you right here, Double A, Highlands represent. Jason says, "Are y'all ready for Thanksgiving?"
Yes, we are, Jason. Yes, we are.
Yeah, turkey is thawing as we speak, my friend.
Yeah,
Are you ready?
Just put mine underneath today.
Yeah. Plan to eat a lot, Jason. You got to plan to eat a lot, man. Put up some pictures of that plate when you get it. Joe says women rockers are basically held back.
Big
Yeah,
time.
that's true.
Especially since there were like none of them were over 18.
Yeah.
None of them.
Yeah. Oh, really?
All of them were
Oh,
16,
that's-
17.
Yeah,
you
which
know?
is probably
But they're playing CBGBs, whiskeys, you know,
Yeah.
with the Ramones, with Blondie, with the Police. You know, I mean, it's really cool. It's a really cool thing. And then this weekend, Jason, hopefully you're still here. Social Revolt is having another event again this weekend at Wonderland with a lot of Rob Zombie Halloween actors and actresses.
anybody
So,
we met already, Double A, or no?
did you ever meet Tyler Maine? You didn't meet Tyler Maine.
I did not meet him.
No,
yeah.
you didn't.
And I know
no.
he's come to Traders a couple of times too.
Yeah, that's where I got to meet him.
Nice.
I don't know. Maybe you know this one. Maybe you and your dad, Ginger Z.
No,
They said she was like the big porn star in the 80s, but she came out like in House of a Thousand Corpses.
I
Really,
mean,
she
I'd
liked
like
to
to
pull
know
her
her
out.
if she was in porn. Yeah,
Well, I mean, she's older now.
Which,
but-
speaking of which, apparently on YouTube we're getting the bots attacking us right here. Free virtual girls
Hey,
chat.
all right.
Okay, well we gotta make sure to delete those. That's not a good comment we want on there. Shit, how do I do that? There we go. All right.
Well, we
block
have been
user.
talking a lot about, you know,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
and
They
that.
thought we were an automatic
this and that.
swinging Johnson and stuff like that. Yeah. How do I?
But yeah, it's like a lot of Rob Zombie. It's like Rob Zombie's like kind of crew. That's going to be at Wonderland.
Joe says he's actually seen the doc. He said it's really good. So,
okay,
yeah,
cool, Joe.
Badass, Joe. Nice. Yeah, guys, please forgive the YouTube comments there from whatever bot is out there.
Yeah. Well,
If
I mean,
wants to
hopefully
go on
they're
YouTube
viewing.
and- Yeah, the bot owner is reviewing.
But yeah, so I think that was it about for this weekend. And guys, if we don't get a chance to say, you know, happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving, guys. Have a great one. I mean, we'll try to say it again at the end, but just in case
we may,
don't-
but
we don't
yeah,
say it again.
yeah.
We might get too hype here. Joe says, "Wow, LOL." Yeah, I know. Tell me about it. There's the joys of having 100 followers on YouTube, I guess. I'm like, shit. You know what? Aren't there bigger accounts you guys could be attacking?
Yeah, no kidding.
But without further ado, I think Double A, we should just get right into
let's
it,
do
guys.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So a big ass movie came out last week. If it hadn't have come out, maybe the Black Panther would still be I mean the Black Adam would still be kicking ass.
Oh,
maybe. Maybe. I mean, nothing else really came out though, right?
No. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And as powerful as The Rock is, he had to know that when this movie came out, it was going to be his time to go. We watched Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, guys. And
it was actually cool. We got to see it together.
yeah, we got to see it together. Like together. Like
Yes.
we went together.
Yes.
So if you have not seen that movie and you do not want any spoilers, they are coming your way fast and furious. So
Good one on The Rock.
damn, I didn't think about that. So yeah, be aware of the spoilers. So if you haven't seen Black Panther Wakanda Forever, tune out, I guess, for now until you watch it, then come back and watch. Jason, Adam gave you the lowdown there, and then she's a fox. Yeah, all right. Nice. And just as y'all recording next Friday or early show, we will record next Friday. Will it be an early show? Possibly if the
I'm going to be off.
We'll be off. Yeah,
I'm going to be off.
You know what I mean? So we might be eating our leftovers during that. You know what I mean? So potentially, yeah. You never know. Black Panther eats pizza. We eat pizza. Very nice. From you, Joe, I learned that is from Do the Right Thing, Spike Lee. So I love that. But the title I gave it here, LIIK'IK Talokan. So I had to look up how to pronounce all the things that get said in this movie because, man, yeah. So let's back up, Double A. So real quick, I went and saw this on Thursday night. No,
you saw Friday morning.
Friday morning because I was off for Veterans Day. You had to work.
Yes.
So I went, just me and Jess, me and my gal Jess. Two is herding cats, getting the family together. We went to a 10 o'clock show, so it wasn't like packed Marvel movie theater. It was like early people, you know what I mean? So we got a cool cup and a bucket.
But quality was kind of shitty on that one.
Yeah, quality kind of shitty. It's like rubbing off or whatever. But yeah, and not enough Namor on there. But man, we loved it. We were in tears. We left feeling some kind of way about the villain of the movie. We were like, I think that I like Namor more.
And that's always been kind of the thing when you read in the comics.
Yeah. So go ahead.
But So I was supposed to try and see it on Thursday, but we had a big thing going on that weekend. My wife got super busy Saturday. No, she got busy Thursday, Friday, and of course Saturday we couldn't do it. Sunday was spending all day cleaning the mess that was left over. So Monday, my wife was saying that she wasn't really feeling well, but kind of hurt me even more when she said, you know, I really don't want to see this movie anyways. I was like, yeah. I go, well, is it okay if you know, I go, CM has been asking that if I do go, he wants to go with me. Is it okay if I go with him? She goes, yes. I was about
Double
to
A eats pizza.
She
I
goes,
want to eat pizza.
She goes, I was about to say, can you call Charlie or CM? Can you call CM? And I was like, yeah, okay. I was like, I was praying too because I hadn't talked to CM about this at all. I was like, man, hopefully he says yes. You know, so I text him and go, hey man, I know you're at work. Is there any way you can see Black Panther tonight? It's kind of like a late thing. It was on a Monday. Yeah, and I was like, I don't know when I'm going to get another chance to see this movie. He goes, yeah, I'll go. Shit,
mind you, that's already in our schedule to be today's show. So I was like, you need to go see the movie, Adam.
Which I would have. I would have seen.
Yeah,
it somehow,
I know you would have gone. Yeah,
it just I was like, Monday was perfect because I didn't have to go to work until later the next day, so it was going to be a perfect day. And then he texts me back. He goes, hey, well, Amy and Cal want to come. I was like, awesome.
It's my sister and my nephew. Yeah.
I go, awesome. I go, let's do it then. I was like, okay, cool. We got a plan. We got a pretty early showing. I didn't know how long the movie was, but I was like, thank goodness we went to go see this early showing.
Did it feel long?
There was some parts, yes, it did.
Okay, because
yes.
I the first time through, I was like, we went to like a 10 o'clock. So we got out by like noon. Yeah. So I was like noon 12:30. I was like, oh, it was kind of long, right? Like, what was it? Runtime?
2 hours and 41 minutes.
Oh, it's almost 3 hours.
I think it's the third longest behind Endgame and No Way Home.
No shit.
I think so.
Yeah. And obviously we're going to get into why they had to address certain things or whatever.
Yeah, but there could have been some editing here and there. Mm-hmm. There really could have been.
I think so.
Without even touching the tribute parts, they could have. It's like how we said about the Batman. We love the Batman, but there is a shitload that they could have edited out real easy.
All right, so let's do the Snyder Cut. Snyder Cut is a better movie, but it could
still could have been packed in. You know?
Yeah, so always room to get. You know,
and that's just my opinion. I'm not saying that's what everyone is saying. That's just
2 hours is good. 2 and 2:15 is good. 2:30 you're getting there, but over that it's kind of like all right. It's a commitment now.
Yes,
you know. So
So
Joe says you saw a solo matinee.
Okay.
You could have called, bud. You could have called. You know, solo matinee. I would have gone
Saturday. I wouldn't have been able to make it anyway. Saturday.
Yeah. We haven't heard from Mario, Jason. So
we have heard he's doing well.
We have heard from other people. From Hobby.
Atomic.
Atomic Toys and More.
So he's doing great. He's fucking banking it up there in Dallas. It's a whole richer clientele. So yeah,
good.
He's
for
doing
him,
very well.
Cheers to Mario.
Cheers to Mario. Mario, if you're listening to us, cheers, buddy.
And Jason, if you get to go to Atomic Toys ever over there off of
it is Riddiman Road.
Jason, if you love Mario, you will love Javi, man.
Javi is great.
He's a great toy guy, great comic guy, very funny, very animated. And again, he is a protege of Mario's. So
yeah, I can see it. I can really.
Yeah, he has said it himself. He's like, without Mario, I wouldn't have it. I would be there, man. So you should definitely check out his
Javi is great. Yeah, Javi's really great.
Yeah, Joe, don't go to movie solo, bro. Call me. Yeah, but okay. So then that was really cool too, because I didn't really tell too many people this, but like I was really kind of sad that my nephew didn't want to go with me.
Yeah, that was crazy when you said that.
Yeah, for the first show, and he kind of said similar because he was off too. He kind of was like, well, he said, I really want to watch the first one first, and I was like, all right.
He never got around to it, right?
He saw most of it. He got most of it, but I think he got really into it. He left out of this a lot.
Especially when he
Black
posed.
Adam.
When he posed.
Oh yeah,
after,
and then he felt after Black Adam. He was kind of like, well, I wish I knew more about Black Adam, is what he said after the Black Adam movie. And I was like, well, you just learned right there. But I was like, okay, but he felt some way different, and it was even at this point where I'm doing the Talokan gesture to him. And he was doing the Wakanda to me like, man, like you're with them or whatever, So I was kind of like, all right, that's cool. And it ended up working. He was really excited to go with you too. He thought that was so cool that we rode in your car. Like, he has this thing about riding in other people's cars.
All right.
So he thought that was so fun. And then his mom came, so he always wants his mom to be there too. So
I was glad she came too. I was really happy she came.
And she loved it. She loved it too much.
Oh, she was crying a lot.
Oh yeah. Y'all sat by each other because we had Cal by me, and then I was on the end,
which I was fine with too. I was like, I love my cousin Amy. So
awesome. And I thought it was good too, because I was like, if he has to go to the bathroom, I can take him so y'all don't miss it. Like I was glad that I had already seen it once. But man, it just worked out so much. Like that really worked out. Because I mean, I was really bummed he didn't want to go with me, and I had even told my sister, I was like, man, I'm kind of down, and like we couldn't work it all out because the family logistics were like all crazy. And then I was like, but that was like extra special, man. That we went together.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So that added to it. But before we get into the movie, Double A, I want to hear a little bit. You're kind of a Namor guy. Would you say that you're a Namor guy?
Yes.
Yeah, you know way more about him than I do. You've read definitely more about him than I have. Give me your background and history with the character.
Just again, he's kind of just how the movie is. He's a bad guy to some, a good guy to some, an ally to some. He's been an adversary to the X-Men and Fantastic Four. He's been a friend to Doctor Doom.
Mm-hmm.
He has worked with Magneto as well in the early issues, but then he's also come calling to Matt Murdock for help with suing the U.S. government. So there is that too. There's times when he's with the Defenders. He's been a team with the Hulk, Silver Surfer, and Doctor Strange, which we have said is a very underrated team, and that's quite a powerhouse foursome right there. You got Namor, Hulk, Silver Surfer, and Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
that is one hell of a fucking team right there. I mean, he's always been he can tip the balance on either side real easy.
Absolutely.
I'm glad they kind of said that he can kind of go up against Thor and Hulk, even though they kind of minimize it in this movie, I thought, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, he can go against the Hulk. He can go against the powerhouses in the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
He can really go. So
and created in 1939.
Oh,
so he predate. I mean, like this is almost like right after Superman.
He's considered Marvel's first main character.
And
he's been an ally to Captain America in the 40s.
And Human Torch, the old Human Torch. They were like the first three.
The Invaders, I believe that team was
the
called.
Invaders. Yeah, and they fought at World War II together.
Yes.
So if they ever touched on that, that'd be cool because obviously they said that he was old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I could imagine some type of scene where maybe like Chris Evans is like, I remember seing him or something. That'd be like so rad, right?
Now
like,
the origin's a little different here, though.
Yes.
Where he was Atlantean, the city of Atlantis, kind of part of that whole mystique. Here they kind of make him more into the Mayan area, So a little
different origin. Double A, what did he predates Aquaman?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So we could say Aquaman is kind of almost a copy of Namor. Then you'd say.
Yeah, in a way. Not totally though. I mean, the underwater shit. Yeah. The half and half,
and being an Atlantean king,
and being a king. But other than that, the look is way different.
Although they always call him Prince Namor.
Yeah, which is weird.
I don't know who's over you.
Well, it's kind of like what Grant too is like. People don't call him President Grant; they call him General Grant.
Grant.
So I'm like, I don't know. Maybe Prince just sounds Prince Namor instead of King Namor.
And I don't remember. Did they say Prince in this?
No,
I don't think they ever say that.
They're pretty well established that he's the boss.
Yeah, the man. Yeah, and he comes off like the man too. So
but cool. The Aquaman things are a little different. Like they kind of make Aquaman kind of like I guess with Jason Momoa, they kind of try to make him like a Namor-ish, but if we ever seen like Aquaman, his character is way different than Namor's. It is different.
In the comics.
Or even in the Justice League, the Super Friends cartoon. I mean, Aquaman is all nice. He's a total good guy.
Yeah.
Namor, again, he's kind of flipped back and forth.
Which Jason Momoa kind of does, where he's kind of like I don't want to be part of your Justice League.
Whatever, Which is kind of like, and it is kind of like Joe says right here. He has tried stealing Sue away from Reed.
That's one of the things I remember a lot, which I'm like, damn, Sue Richards has been coming out of the woods. She's got Dr. Doom after her. She's got Submariner after
his first appearance in the Silver Age after a long absence. The cover is him like carrying Sue off into the sea with the other three trying to race after him,
And I've seen this great piece of art where she's kind of like on his leg, like Princess Leia style, and she's got like her invisible like bubble, and he's looking very regal. And I was just like,
I mean, man, he's way more man than the draw Reed.
Oh yeah, yeah. They draw Namor like a fucking hunk. They've always made him like ripped.
It's kind of like, whoa, why wouldn't you leave for this?
And he's a king too.
Is it because he stretches? That's why.
That might be true.
Could he win over Namor in that battle?
Well, he could just keep going. He's like, how about now? How about now? So there you go, Joseph. Now watch this humor for you.
But Namor, in the 60s, especially when Kirby and Stan Lee were with him, I mean, man, he was everywhere. He was in the X-Men. He was in the Fantastic Four. He was in Daredevil. He had his own miniseries. He was in the Defenders. I mean, this guy was everywhere.
Double A was he in the Illuminati?
Yes, he was, but I
part of the
think he's
Illuminati?
the one that kind of broke off when he
He's
saw
like,
what they were trying to do.
Y'all up to no good. Yeah, and also too, I
he
think
called them out on that.
Yeah, I don't think he took part in the Civil War either. He was kind of like,
no, because he was like,
y'all go ahead.
Y'all's bad.
Yeah, he's like, y'all go ahead, because he's always like, fuck you, surface world. Like, y'all are a bunch of assholes who treat the ocean like shit, which is kind of true.
It is.
I mean?
It
so,
is true.
Joe's like, can you feel me now?
What is it? The age-old question from Mallrats that Kevin Smith brought to us.
Oh yeah. Can his whole body stretch or just He's like, he's really obsessed with superhero sex organs.
Brody, right? Brody.
Yeah, Brody Bruce. Yeah. So let's get into it, Double A, right?
Yeah.
So
the movie starts off right away, kind of addressing the whole Chadwick Boseman thing. Apparently T'Challa has fallen with some unknown disease. That's all they say. It's an unknown disease.
Mm-hmm.
He's really sick, deathly sick. He's already on his deathbed. Shuri is trying to make the herb again that Killmonger burned.
The heart-shaped herb.
She's trying to replicate it. It's not working. That thing is working. She's doing all her best. They're pleading with her to go be with her brother because this is going to be it. Yeah. As soon as she gets, the 3D kind of like print out, it's too late. You hear King T'Challa has passed away. Yeah, and the very interesting part, right when the movie starts, it's dark, and you hear Shuri saying a prayer. She's like, kind of like, I don't believe in you gods, but if you do, I will believe in you forever. If you help me save my brother or whatever, which is so touching. You know what I mean? But you can't bargain with, God or the gods that way. That's not how it works. You know what I mean? And that from that moment, after, T'Challa passes, she is pretty much like damning the gods, like, you don't exist, you're not real, like I don't believe in you. And she's also a woman of science. Letitia Wright is fantastic as Shuri. Angela Bassett is back as Queen Ramunda. She was
goodness, man. I mean,
she was fucking great in this movie.
And can you imagine Double A being on that set and you're asked to channel these emotions, right? And you only have to think of your friend that just passed 2 years ago.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Yeah. We have a great episode where we tribute to Chadwick Boseman. Wonderful actor and wonderful
and
man,
right away they kind of show him in the beginning. They actually show him like when they're doing like the Marvel stuff.
Yes, the Marvel Studios. It's all him.
It's just like, man, I miss him like all over again. Because
that was my first set of tears I saw.
Because I was like, golly, man, just the way this dude, like, he knew how to carry himself in that role. And like, man, there's just so much charisma, so much the swag walk, the king walk, and it's just like, fuck me, like, why didn't they try to recast it? I mean, I know it's disrespectful. Well, I don't know if it's even disrespectful. I mean, but I don't even know if anyone could have played him anyways. Played another T'Challa like that, but golly, I was like, right away, you knew you were going to be missing something right away from this movie. You knew, man, his presence was going to be fucking missed and felt big time.
Joe says praying to the ancestors. That's right. Yeah. Joe also says Bassett should get nominated. 100% agree. As supporting actress, I would.
It's not going to happen, but yeah.
I wish it would. I wish it would though. We saw them grieve on camera.
But man, it's like all that stuff, man. I was just like, man, this is really gonna, like, my first thought was like, man, this movie's gonna suffer already without him being there.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck me.
And at one point too, Jess leaned over to me on our first viewing and she said, we're not just seeing the part two, we're seeing a send-off.
Yeah.
Like she leaned over and said, that was like the last thing she said, because I think the rest of the time we were tied up. And real quick, I heard this today, part of my research. I saw that there is, I'm listening to it on iTunes. I'm sure it's probably everywhere, but Wakanda Forever, the official Black Panther podcast, it's only one episode, and it's an interview with Ryan Coogler, and who interviews him is that Natasha Coates, the one that wrote that series.
Really?
Yeah, the guy that wrote it. Apparently, that guy. Remember, he wrote that series. You told me to read. I think
this first one.
Yeah, Takashi Coates. I think that's his name. I want to get his name correct.
It was Reginald Hudley.
Okay, not that one. Not that one. I don't want to be playing stuff here. Get us in trouble. But I wanted to get his name.
Yeah, because
okay. Well, this guy wrote Black Panther 2 before he wrote for the Black Panther as well before the movie came out. I think he's the one. It's who did the Dora Milaje, created them.
Well, that was after, so I had stopped reading about that.
Okay, so
by that point,
this guy is the one that had to do with that. I think he's the one that created it.
Wow, so they're interviewing the writer of that Panther series.
Well, it's him. He's interviewing.
Oh, he's interviewing.
He's the one hosting the show.
Okay,
so check this out. This guy went to Howard University with Chadwick Boseman.
Really?
So yeah, and he says that back then he was into the Black Panther.
Really?
So when
wow.
Ryan Coogler's talking to him, he's like, Chadwick Boseman knew that he was going to be the Black Panther before Civil War. Before he was one of these people that he knew that that's what he wanted to do.
And Civil War is his first appearance, right?
That's right.
The Black Panther's first appearance, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And Ryan Coogler was saying how it is such a beautiful listen, man. He asks him pretty much.
And where is that? Like,
well, it's probably everywhere podcasts are available.
What's it called? I'm sorry.
It's called Black Panther, the official.
Black Panther.
The official. What does it say? The official Black Panther podcast.
The official
Wakanda Forever.
Wakanda
the official
Forever.
Black Panther podcast. So only one episode. It's 40 minutes. It's him
Okay.
talking to Ryan Coogler. He even talks to him
That's
about like
Yeah.
how he heard, how he found. And so Ryan Coogler goes, I was writing part 2
with it
right when it was done. Yeah. And he goes, I had finished the script and I had called him. He goes, my last conversation was me asking him to read the script. Would he want to read it? And he said, I could tell he was laying down. I could tell that he was not himself.
Okay.
He said, he goes,
you can always tell.
And he said that he told him, no, I don't want to read it. And that he was kind of taken aback, like why not? He goes, well, I don't want to, let's wait till the studio's done with it, because then I'm going to read a version that we might not be able to do. Right. And he goes, man, and I didn't find out that he was sick. He goes, until
he even kept it a secret
whole
from him,
time.
too.
Yeah. He goes, I didn't know, because he'd been sick for a while.
Yeah.
And he was
read
the whole time that he did
I think
the movie.
Endgame, he's sick already like that.
No, before that.
Well,
Even
I
before
think
that,
it was getting
to
a point.
because he said, he goes, man, I felt so bad about all the things I made him do in Black Panther. He goes, I didn't know. He goes, there were little things that I look back now were hints. Like he goes, he would take a long time to warm back up for another scene or whatever. Like he was like he would take these like long breaks. He was like, when I just figured like, oh, that's his method or whatever. Yeah. But man, there are several moments.
He's not saying anything,
right?
So I mean,
right.
Right.
And he said there are several moments in the thing where he's getting interviewed and he breaks down, man, bad. You can hear him being so silent.
Because what he did in Black Panther is a pretty groundbreaking movie.
It absolutely is.
I mean, it blew up. It made over 700 million here in the States, which is crazy. Which is, domestically, there's not a lot of movies that have crossed over 700 million mark here.
Right.
Just here, not worldwide. Here. Right. So yeah, it was a big thing. I mean, it was huge. It was for a long time. It was like in the top 4 highest grossing Marvel movies.
Yeah, I believe so.
I mean,
it made
1.4 billion.
Yeah, and then just to the landmarkness of it, you know what I mean? Like, that's not a word, but I mean, just it was this landmark film or whatever, with this like, entirely, practically entirely.
This was a major, like, Black African American character with an all African American cast. Yeah, where their fucking position is the strongest in the world. Wakanda is the strongest nation in the world, and that's that's dating back to like the Jack Kirby stuff. Yeah, that's what they wanted. Wakanda is the most advanced civilization in the world, and I think he's even worth like in the fictional wealthiest he's there because of all I think that. So too. Yeah, so
one of the things that's really interesting that the host I think his name is Tahashi Coates that he says is really cool is he talks about his favorite issues to collect were the ones that were those 25-year anniversary ones with all the characters around the border. Yeah. He said that he always didn't like that the Black Panther wasn't on that border because it's like Hulk, Thor, Spider-Man in that little border. And he goes, but those are my favorite ones to collect. And he says those were his prized possessions. Yeah. So it was just really, it's a really, really beautiful listen. It's really interesting. I would suggest anyone that saw the movie already go listen. I gotta hear that. Yeah, I gotta hear it. You'll love it, man.
Well, I like it when there's people that are deeply involved in it talking. Like that's cool that the writer for the comic is talking to Ryan Coogler. Yeah, because we like Ryan Coogler's movie.
Ryan Coogler, man.
We love that.
And after this movie, the man is a genius. I mean, like his directing,
and his storytelling.
Yes,
his storytelling. He's a really good story writer too.
It's so beautiful and so on point. I mean, like especially I was like, man, this guy he's up there, man. I mean, I want to see him do a lot of other stuff.
The Creed movies alone are like, wow.
Well, he talked about that too. He goes, I had done Fruitvale Station. He goes,
Fruitvale, yes,
which I haven't seen yet.
They say that's what kind of got Michael B. Jordan broken through.
Okay.
So yeah, that's a big time movie.
And he talks about that. He goes that place is like San Francisco. He goes, it's just a town, so there's no need to build a world. There's no world in this is set. It's a place. He goes, Philadelphia for Rocky. He's like, there's certain things you're going to show, the steps, the things, the Liberty Bell. He's like, that's all there. He goes, Wakanda, we had to build it from nothing.
Yeah, you gotta.
And he says almost like him and Chadwick work like side by side. He's like everyone was like involved. He wanted everyone involved. And when he gets asked a question, he's like, did you think of recasting? He goes, in that situation, he goes, you think of every option. He goes, you think, should we do this? Should we? He goes, and you think if you don't do it, how do I approach it? But he said, he goes, when he started writing part 2, he already wanted to be, like you said, Black Panther and Namor. He already knew that. That's what he was going to be.
I mean, yeah. Wakanda, in the comics, Atlantis. I mean,
yeah. And he said
Namor, T'Challa.
Yeah, he said that that the thought for recasting did go. He goes, but it wasn't meant in a disrespectful way. He goes, when he looked back at interviews of Chadwick Boseman talking about the movie, since he already knew he was sick when they were promoting the movie, he said, you hear him say it. He says lots of times, he's like, yeah, man, there's got to be part 2, blah, blah, can't wait to sequel. This, he's not saying necessarily me be in it or whatever, but he's saying like, he goes, that was his way of telling us from beyond, you have to do this movie. He goes, because I did think of walking away. That did cross my mind because I didn't think I could do it. Ryan Coogler was saying, I didn't think I could do it. This is like my friend.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the other cast probably felt the same way. So he was like, it was like we didn't have a choice though, because he made us feel like it had to be done.
Don't get me wrong, it is cool, but man, it is really, really missing his presence in this movie.
Yes.
It really is.
The bigness of King T'Challa. You need the bigness of Chadwick.
This kind of felt like a little step down. When it was kind of like, we'll get into it later. Who fights at the end?
If we have like one gripe, that would maybe be
it. Kind of feel like a step down.
Yeah, if we have one gripe, that would maybe be it. But moving on from that, AA. I mean, we're both huge fans of Black Panther, so there's no need to talk about that.
I've loved Black Panther even before the movies have started, even before the talk of the Black Panther was there. I love the Black Panther. I love the whole fucking do you think Stanley and Jack Kirby thought of all this? That hey, let's do this character before even the Black Panther name was even a name. It predates the group, the Black Panthers.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And to make Africa the most advanced country, Wakanda the most advanced country in the fucking world. I mean, golly, they were doing this stuff in the 70s.
Yeah, and this is one of those instances where we're like me and AA are opposite, right? Where he had familiarity with the character, but again, I'm on the other side where I didn't, But the movie, I loved it so much that he created that interest. He created that love.
A really cool character. He's like really one of those badass characters that I really fell in love with. I was like, man, this dude's really badass. And then when he said he was going to be in the Marvel movies, I was like, holy fuck, that's going to be awesome. And then I've told him this many, many times. I was like, with everybody gone, this is going to be his chance to be the leader of the Avengers. Yes. Not only Wakanda, but now he's going to be the leader of the Earth Defenders. The Avengers. He's going to be the lead guy. He's going to be taking over from here. I was like, man, I can't wait. There's nobody perfect to replace Chris Evans than Chadwick Boseman. I was like, man, that's going to be so fucking cool when he takes the mantle and fucking leads the next phase of the Marvel movies.
It really crushed me to hear AA's thoughts on that, because it was like, man, I want that so bad. I want to see that. I want to live in the multiverse where that exists.
That's what I was. I was like, man, I can't wait for this.
He's right, because that sounds amazing, and I would love to be watching those movies. And again, I pray to one day see some type of multiverse where that exists, because it would be incredible as AA's making it sound. Because, I think they're kind of making it unofficial, like we said. It's Benedict Cumberbatch, it's Doctor Strange, which is kind of like
it is, and it is. Because he, what I mean,
he can't mix it up. You know what I mean? Like he can use magic, and that's great.
And that's because of the character. Doctor Strange is not,
of course,
the leader. You know what I mean?
Right.
He does well in the Doctor Strange realm. Like I love Multiverse of Madness.
Oh yeah,
loved it. He was great, but. Yeah, but now you're introducing all these other characters, and it's going to be Benedict probably leading the group,
right?
No doubt, no doubt about it.
So there's that, but again, like I said, I liked him a whole lot in Civil War, but then I fell in love, like in Black Panther the movie, and I was like, man, this guy is a fucking dope character.
When he comes back, in Infinity War and then Endgame, his moment was a big moment in Endgame.
Huge moment. Moment. I wanted a little bit more, you know what I mean? Like I wanted a little bit more, but when he's like, give it to me, and he's running with the gauntlet, you're like, I mean, like without him doing that part,
and then you see him at Cap. They're just like fucking running. They're like the first in the packs, like we're hauling ass to fucking fight.
Yeah, and that's like, this is amazing. It really is amazing, man. So you get that, and then after that, this tragedy obviously happens.
So
and,
in the movie, they kind of go deeper. They had this really badass casket made for him. You know, that was like really badass. They're mourning him. It's like over a period of a year. Of course, everybody knows about Wakanda, the vibranium.
Now, right.
There's, of course, the world is like, you got to share your resources with us. Because if not, you're holding weapons of mass destruction, blah,
right.
blah, blah. At the same time, they're doing this, like at the UN, I guess, the summit. There's like mercenaries attempting to infiltrate one of the Wakanda bases.
Mm-hmm.
And, they're not defenseless. They got protection.
Oh yeah.
And they beat these mercenaries pretty bad.
Yeah. And we got a little Dora Milaje in Falcon and Winter Soldier,
Yes.
right? And again, as they have been being shown, they're fucking badass. I remember that scene with Ayo in Falcon and Winter Soldier. I was like, I'll give her the shield because she fucking earned it.
Yeah.
She just fucking kicked major ass. Like, I made all of them look fucking bad.
Yeah, because it makes John like really doubt himself.
Yeah. I mean, like, that's a great ass fucking scene from Falcon and Winter Soldier. And again, they want Zemo because he's essentially who is
King T'Chaka.
King T'Chaka.
Yeah.
So it's like, they're like, no. We're gonna do it the Wakandan way. So we see Kamoyo beads and all that.
So
in
at
that
the same
show
time, you're seeing that, and then like, man, Angela Bassett just gets up and she just fucking tears everybody up. All the world leaders, she tears them up bad.
The whole UN,
fucking forceful. At that time, they lead the mercenaries in, where they've already got them. And they kind of mention, you ever do any of this kind of shit again, it's going to be an act of war.
Absolutely.
And everyone's kind of like backing off because there ain't no nation that's going to compete with Wakanda.
Yeah,
there just isn't.
Something interesting they said too about vibranium, right? Double is that they were like, it doesn't set off metal detectors. I thought that was interesting.
That was very cool.
Shit, that's kind of cool.
That was very cool.
Oh, Double A, this is something I had it kind of as an afterthought. But do you think anything of this whatsoever? Like, should they have showed maybe some of the rest of the world's reaction to King T'Challa's death? Maybe even some of the Avengers.
That would have been nice.
Because cool. I would really imagine that these people that fought alongside him,
but then they were so secretive.
Mm-hmm.
They had just came out in the Black Panther movie.
Yeah.
So
I hope that in the future we get.
And then remember, it was 5 years where everybody disappeared.
Right.
So
I hope that in the future maybe they show some stuff like that though. Maybe they show like some reactions.
I don't think he had enough time.
Marvel Universe to do it. Yeah, you're probably
I don't think he had enough time to actually flex his weight.
Yeah. Yeah, but I would imagine that people like Cap, because of course we see Tony's funeral and it's everyone's there, even the
Avengers mainly.
Yeah, the Avengers,
not really world
like
leaders.
The world. But I would like to think that those people, like especially like Bucky, you know what I mean? Like Winter Soldier was there. I would imagine he has a big reaction to that, you know what I mean? So, but again, I like how they kept the funeral there at Wakanda, just Wakandans, and his people. It's a beautiful ceremony. Like you said, then Double A, fast forward to the year, then we find out that, of course, people want the vibranium. And then right after that, the next beat we get is that they're trying to find vibranium elsewhere.
Yes, and they do.
They do.
They do.
And they're using this machine.
They're using this fucking machine that somehow is able to detect vibranium.
Right. Which there was apparently nothing that
there was
nothing.
That. No. And they find it in the ocean.
Yes. In the Atlantic.
Yeah. And so you're like, oh shit. And then writing up right off the bat, all these Talokans.
Yes.
Would you say Talokans?
Yeah, we could say the people of Talokan, I guess, because there is a name I couldn't remember what it was.
I want to say Atlantean so bad because that's just what I've grown up on so much.
Right.
This is totally new for me. So
yeah.
Pretty much Namar's people, Atuma, which I figured we're gonna see him, but I wasn't 100% sure I was gonna see Atuma see him.
Okay.
So when I saw him, I was kind of like, okay, cool. Atuma, usually in the comics, he's usually Namar's main enemy. But here he kind of looks like he's like Namar's kind of like general.
Yes.
Would you say so?
Yeah, I would agree.
Atuma. He's always trying to replace Namor. He's always trying to get his throne. But here he's an ally, which was cool. And then they introduced Namora.
Now, what I read in one of the things I was reading, Double A, I know you said that in the comics that's his lady.
Well, it's cousin.
Okay, cousin.
Yeah, I checked out just to be sure, and it's his cousin.
Yeah, and I see here that's his cousin in the thing. I was trying to see here if it's
which she apparently too is half. She's half and half.
Okay. She's half human, half
Yes,
as well.
but in this one, it looks like she's full blown. Talokan.
Talokan. I
Talokan?
don't know what they're called. Like
I'm gonna say
they're-
Talokan.
Okay, we're from Talokan.
I've only
Okay.
seen it once, and I only got to see it on Monday.
And
so-
they don't actually say what in this one, but I've read it in other stuff. People they refer to them as something. But go ahead, carry on.
But great scene. They fucking pretty much destroy everyone. The mermaids. Me and Amy are like,
Yes.
are those mermaids? Like he actually has mermaids. They're making these noises. So apparently,
Like a siren.
If you're really into like the Greek mythologies and all that kind of stuff, the sirens, or even the Odyssey. If you ever seen the Odyssey with Odysseus,
Yes.
their voices are supposed to be so beautiful that you're supposed to be hypnotized, and pretty much you kind of like just jump to your death almost. And that's what these people were doing. That's what the U.S. Army was doing. The soldiers were just dropping the guns and just dying.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, and after they kind of broke that, that's when they attacked pretty hardcore, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In this one article from Collider, they call them Talokanil. The people like Talokanil people, whatever. So, but they're from Talokan. Again, this is all derived from Mayan and Aztec culture.
I mean, this is brand new. I mean, there has not been a hint of any kind of this stuff in the Namor comics, whatsoever. So this is like brand new.
Yeah, and again, Tenoch Huerta who plays Namor, is from Mexico. Mexico City is where he's from. One that plays Namora is, I believe, also from Mexico.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it's
At
Colombian.
first, I thought she was Asian.
Oh
at
no!
First.
Yeah,
because the way they make her eyes, I was kind of like, oh wow, is that Asian?
What about the costuming, AA? Man, gorgeous stuff, man. They look.
I was afraid. I was like, man, people are gonna see Aquaman and they're gonna be like, man, it's kind of like a ripoff of Aquaman,
right?
Because you know how they have the coverings,
yes,
filled with water. So I was kind of like, but I don't think it is. I don't think that's even gonna be a problem.
No,
the comparisons are probably gonna stop right there. They showed they're a force to be reckoned with, right, Sam?
Yeah,
absolutely. The way they get rid of them.
Absolutely. Her name is that plays Namora, Mabel Cadena, and it says she is also from Mexico. Okay. And I wanted to see where he was from because I saw a really great video of them trying the foods. Yes. Yeah, and he asked a lot of questions, and I was like, well, where's he from? So he's from somewhere else. And I wanted to just get it real quick.
And Atuma is a really cool character.
Yeah.
If you love the Submariner like kind of branch.
And they give him a
really
little
cool character.
They give him a little bit of a beefed up with him and Okoye.
Oh yeah.
Who we know to be the badass of the Dora Milaje, played by our great Denai Guerrero, who is Michonne from The Walking Dead. Venezuela. He's a native of Venezuela. Okay. Sorry guys, thank you. For holding Joe says people keep saying everything in Marvel Space War is about grieving and the passing of the mantle. Yeah, I mean I could see that. I mean you've got obviously the Scarlet Witch stuff, you know what I mean?
Vision.
Visions, yeah. That's her grieving over Vision.
Loki to King.
Yep, absolutely, yeah.
Shit. Okay.
It's interesting. That's interesting.
I'm glad you brought that up, Joe, because this is the end of Phase 4.
The end of Phase 4.
So I was kind of like, okay, cool. So we kind of got that kind of out of the way,
And Quantumania should be the start of Phase 5.
What a great way to end it. Like everyone is just saying that this is like the best movie they've done in quite a while. You know, I just been reading glowing reviews about this movie. And it kind of feels nice to hear that again, after all the shit that
I know. A lot of Marvel stuff that we liked, that we covered, people were like, that was garbage. Like everything was garbage, you know what I mean? So AA is talking about the scene where the sirens are getting them to walk off. And at the end of that scene, right, that little invasion or whatever, this helicopter takes off with this lady that she's like an agent, right? A CIA or something like that.
Which I thought she was going to have a bigger role. I've known her from other movies. And
well, you know what Lake Bell is mainly known for? Lake Bell is, I believe, who does the she is the voice of Scarlett Johansson in the
Black Widow?
Yeah, in the What If stuff.
Widow?
Yeah, she does Black Widow.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, they always get Lake Bell to do. She's like the unofficial Black Widow.
I know her from other movies, but I didn't know that.
Yeah, I believe so. I believe Lake Bell is who always does the voice of the Black Widow and all this. So that's really cool that she's in like a live action version. But they're trying to take off in the helicopter. Some of the Atlanteans, damn it. The Talokan again, it's gonna happen, guys.
We spent 30 years just believing they're Atlantean. This is the first time we're finding out they're Marvel made it something else.
Yeah, which is great. Which I think it's great. I really love what they did or whatever. How they did it.
It is. It's just we spent so much history of Namor as an Atlantean.
Yeah,
so it's kind of like even they have a story called when Atlantis attacks.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
that's right.
It's like so we're gonna fuck up quite a bit.
In the comics, AA, are the people blue as well?
No,
they're not blue.
Well, no. I take that back. Atuma is.
Atuma is blue. Okay.
I think a few of them are, but Namora, no.
So what was neat, right, is that they were blue on the surface, but under the water
they turned back to like they look like regular humans. I was like, oh wow, that's cool. I like that.
And whenever someone's speaking their language, the subtitles are in blue too.
Yes.
You notice that?
Yes. Which
so
was very
cool.
Yeah.
Which again is a dialect. They said that Tenoch Huerta and the actors did learn Mayan. They learned.
Yeah.
They had
which is great.
Guy on,
I've always loved that. Like when Mel Gibson did Apocalypto,
mm-hmm.
I always loved that they found some sort of kind of dialect.
Yes.
That was kind of related to that because I think Apocalypto is Mayan.
I believe so. Yeah. That's a great film.
Movie.
Also,
that's a great
movie. Yeah,
great
where
movie.
it's all in the language. So
that's a great fucking
very,
movie.
very, very cool. But you see a figure in the sky grab the end of the helicopter, flying.
And at first I was kind of, who the fuck is that? Because he this person grabbed the helicopter, and you can tell it's kind of like swinging. It was doing that kind of motion.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, is that a Tuma? I was like, fuck, is that a Tuma?
Yeah.
And
but he's in the sky though, so you're like, wait, they don't fly.
They don't fly except for one person.
Exactly. And then you kind of get like this silhouette scene or whatever,
yes.
right? And then we cut away back to Wakanda. We're back in Wakanda.
Yeah.
And what's going on at that point?
So I think the Queen's come back, and she's kind of telling Shuri, like she wants to take her to this spot.
Yes.
To because she's not really. She's
been buried in her technology and stuff like that.
And the Queen too has just not gotten over it. I mean, she lost her husband, and then not too long after that, it's like T'Challa.
Yeah.
And losing probably T'Challa 2 times. I don't know if she ever disappeared. They don't ever say if she disappeared during the Infinity War.
Oh right, yeah.
Because so if she did survive, she lost him for 5 years. And then she lost, loses him again if she did survive.
Yeah. That's enough. I mean, obviously they're representing Angela Bassett as older, as Queen
Ramonda. Fucking great. Like I was saying Amy, I was like, she's like in her 60s and she looks fucking hot,
toned, and wow. I mean, like no wrinkles. I know they're making you up a little bit, but
I don't know. I've seen picture of her without this.
Yeah,
and I'm like, wow.
The only way they made her look old, right, is they kind of gave her the
white hair.
The white hair.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I mean, like she looked fantastic. And yeah, so she's trying to
just a force. Like, man, it just kind of sucks that they didn't do this with her more in the other movies. Like, man, she is so badass in this movie.
And her acting in this is absolutely
like, I think it kind of went down on the Wakanda side when she does pass away.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, ooh, man, they lost another kind of like important person,
Yeah. And we'll get to it, but nice job.
And there's actually a comic where I tell TM like Storm has the white hair like that, the puffy hair.
Yeah.
I was like, I wonder if they got that for
the classic afro. Yeah. But yeah, she's kind of concedes that Shuri isn't really coping, right?
She's not.
And she's trying to help her cope. She's being a mom and trying
she's
to
building suits, powerful suits, and she's just like doing anything, to keep herself busy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like you said, she wants her to go pray with her. I think it says Corey's in the house. What's up, Corey? We appreciate you being here, buddy. He says if you slow down in game, missing pictures with Cap and Natasha, Shuri's picture shows up. Oh, okay. So she disappeared also.
Well, I don't know about
but did Queen Ramonda disappear? I don't think we don't ever know if she disappeared during the Thanos blip of everybody. That's kind of what we were talking about, Corey. But hey, appreciate you being here, brother.
Yeah, she pretty much says there's like a spot. And she did this ritual.
Yes.
Which kind of like, it made it seem like he was there, right?
Yes, that's what she says. Yeah. She says she kind of just wandered in the bush and she, until she heard her brother. And, and she tells, before they leave Shuri's lab, she's like, leave all your tech behind. She's like, you're not going to need it. And she doesn't want to, the Kamoyo beads that are like, can do everything.
It's radar, pretty much. It's radar. Yeah.
And like health vitals and all that, right? It does all that stuff. It can do a charge.
I was like, holy shit!
What do they call that damn machine?
The defibrillator.
Defibrillator, yes. Corey also says, no, the Queen.
Okay, so she lost him 2 times.
And he says, sorry, my work's all being in and out.
So
no worries, brother. No worries.
She lost both of them.
Yeah. So that's even. I mean, look at she had to experience that. Then she gets some. I mean, like the woman's been on a fucking roller coaster. You know what I mean? So obviously, it makes her a strong queen. You know what I mean? what's the line we get later that's really great? You know what I mean? From only broken people can be great leaders. You know, and probably no one more broken than Queen Ramunda at this point. You know.
Oh man, she goes on and tear on OK later.
Yes, she does. Ooh. She really does. Which was like that made me feel like.
Which I was kind of like, shit. Well, damn, she's right.
Yeah, she is right. Yeah.
Like, damn.
Yeah,
and I was like, you.
And I felt like I was getting in the principal's office. I was like,
I was like,
Queen got in that ass. Man.
I was like, no, you did fuck up. Yeah, you're terrible. I was like, why were you general this long?
Well, it was just this one instance. I mean, I feel like, fuck. Hey, like the one guy said, hey, she took up arms against her own husband. And,
I know, but then she goes back with some really valid argument. So it's kind of like, damn.
Okay, Double A. So while they're there in the bush by the water, having a moment,
which is great. It's a great scene. It's a cool moment. And I did not expect this. I told Tien, like, I had goosebumps. Like, I was like, that is a great fucking entrance. Like,
absolutely.
There was nothing explosive. There was no like big music, but I was like, wow, that was like really cool.
Yeah. Like they're like, here comes, Tenoch Huerta walks out of the water.
Yeah, he just just comes out.
And he's looking around.
He doesn't burst out. He doesn't, there's no big music, like you said. It's a quiet scene. He just like comes out of the water, just like walks all cool.
And they're both kind of like, what the fuck? A guy just like walked out of the water.
Just popped out.
Like, and then
how scary is that, right?
Yeah. And you're in Wakanda.
Because Wakanda is supposed to be like just
impenetrable.
Yeah. I love what he says. He's like, wow, the air is so clean and pristine. The water, like he's just like giving them like
no introduction. Great. He just kind of starts. He's like, why would you reveal yourself, to the world? And they're like, who the fuck are you? Like, I mean, she says it. She asks him, and then he continues to go on. I think, and then she says to him, I'm a woman that don't like to repeat myself. And that's when he gives her that great opening line. And he says, I'm known by many names. He says, my people call me shit.
Yeah, I know.
Coogler. I believe that's right. Later on, M'Baku says it, and he gets it.
He says it really good. He says it nice and slow.
Yeah. But Tenoch Huerta, obviously a native of Mexico and studied the Mayan average. But yeah, he even kind of takes a breath before, because he's like a cuckoo. I was practicing too for the night. I was actually studying how to say it. But that's what he says. One of the names he's known by that is really from Mayan, and it does mean feathered serpent god. There is statues in Mexico to this feathered serpent god, a Cuckoo Clock Khan. I even wrote it in the write up too. I don't plan to say it a whole bunch, but yeah. So he says that's why people call me. He says, but my enemies call me Namor, and he says it like that, Namor. We say Namor, and they consider to say Namor
because that's just the way we've heard it again from the cartoons and everything.
And I just read this in your Alex Ross book that you were looking at before the show, where he's painted him. He says Namor backwards is Roman.
Yes. Yeah, that's where they got kind of the original.
And the wings on the feet are kind of a tribute to Mercury or whatever.
Yeah. But of course, that's all different. That's just in the comics.
Yeah. So. And I love this though, because they do say that Atlantis was like this lost city, right?
And it was,
with advanced technology.
It was so advanced that God like sank it. That's how advanced.
And when you talk about the Mayan culture that we do know existed, and Aztec culture, that Central American culture at its time, they do say that the pyramids were ahead of their time. They do say that much of the things that they did, their clocks, their calendars were ahead of their time.
Yes.
So it makes you wonder. I'm like, oh, that's kind of a nice link, Atlantis to Mesoamerican culture or whatever. I really, really, really dug it. So you get this great intense first meeting, right? Namor and Queen Ramunda and Shuri, and he pretty much tells them, he's like, hey, there's vibranium elsewhere. They're like, nope, only vibranium's here. He's
only
like,
in Wakanda.
And he's like, okay, we can believe it. And Shuri says, mother, he's covered in it. And he looks great, right? And what did you think, Double A, about the costume? Like,
loved it.
They still honored the green shorts. The green shorts,
Well, I mean, I loved it. Loved the pieces.
Yeah, and all that looked really great.
The thing, and I get why there's so many people that love it. When you see the Aztecs and you see the big pieces, it's just so fucking cool. Like, you can see why there's so many people that just love that look it's a really cool exotic look.
Absolutely,
you know?
the big feather,
Yes.
dresses or whatever. I mean, it's great headdresses. Joe says regarding Queen Ramonda, I've lost my husband and my son. She says that later. Corey says, I will chip in and say that I love Ironheart and Midnight Angel intros. Yeah, man, that's cool stuff. I definitely some cool suits. We're kind of going to get to that and see what we kind of thought about those a little bit later, and the Ironheart character. Joe says, I love the Sin Namor take. I actually thought that was very cool too.
Yeah, that was very different.
And then he says, love the Mayan Aztec look. Totally agree with you, brother, as well. Hugely. Like, I have to say it kind of had a profound effect on me where it was like, oh, wow. Like, it made me feel a lot of pride, that, we are related to that culture.
And that's what me and Sam were kind of talking about the other day. We're just like, man, this is kind of cool. Like it didn't sink in right away, like for me on Monday, but it started sinking in as the days were going by. Like I was thinking about this episode. I was like, man, that's really fucking cool that more people worldwide, because of Marvel and their big plateau, their big stage, that they're able to show this, and it's kind of like, man, it's really been fucking cool to see the reactions kind of like worldwide.
And I'm gonna say it, now too, is like, because Double A told me, he goes, man, like, I mean, maybe before we didn't fully understand, you know what I mean, or maybe we had felt some kind of way about like, oh, they changed certain characters, certain things, whatever.
And I didn't like it. I remember it too. I didn't like it either.
Yeah,
I was kind of
there's
like,
probably footage of us both saying it, when it comes to certain things or whatever. But he, Double A made a point where he said it really was cool to see us being represented.
It
on
really
the screen.
was, just because of how he did it.
Yes, exactly. And because I said too, it's like there's been plenty of Latin Americans, Mexican Americans on movies, but we're always kind of like drug dealers and gangbangers, and
most of the fucking quotes I always hear from friends and family is from Blood In, Blood Out and American Me.
I also hear a lot of Next Friday, you know what I mean, where he's kind of a cholo, you know what I mean, and then we have the guy from Ant-Man, what's his name? Miguel Pena.
Oh, yeah,
Michael Pena. Michael Pena, and he's fantastic. But I'm like,
but
he's a
kind of typical Mexican,
and it's like he's not one of the heroes. Now we're seeing, they're making him kind of the bad guy in this, but he's a fucking badass, and he's a guy that we're like, this guy could go toe to toe with the fucking Hulk. I'm like, that's fucking awesome.
And it's cool. Like, again, this guy really fucking like impressed me so much. I didn't think, because Namor was going to be a fucking role that was going to be really hard to kind of play off. It was going to be an antagonist role, but it was also going to kind of be like, he was going to try to convince you too of the fact that I'm not an antagonist. I'm protecting white people.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you had to play those dual roles.
Not that many months back.
And the antagonist. Almost.
Yeah. Not that many episodes back. Not that many months back. We were fantasy casting when we thought we were going to get Henry Cavill, because when I say we, Marvel thought they were going to get Henry Cavill, because it was like DC seemed like it was going in the toilet. And again, thank you to The Rock for getting Superman back. That's great. But we were kind of saying, dang, wouldn't Henry Cavill make a great Namor? You know what I mean? We were both saying that, me and Double A. The guy's fit.
Like, we're like, he has to be someone like that
stature.
Yes.
Like, you've got to be powerful. You can't be Captain Britain or whatever the fuck.
No.
That's fucking lame.
Like, I was mad
that
when
would
people kept saying
hot trash if that would have happened. And then some people were like Dr. Doom, and I was like, yeah, but he's going to be all covered up. It's like Henry Cavill is such a striking and imposing. Make him Namor. Show off the.
It's kind of like if you're like, you put Kate Update like as some fucking character, but you put her in Stormtrooper outfit. You're like, wow, really?
Right.
Why'd you fucking cast her for it?
Yeah. And this was a curveball to us. You know what I mean? Like, this was like, okay, cool. That
And I was like, man, I was kind of like, man, I don't know how they're gonna do this, but man, his charisma. It's just like fucking leaping off the screen.
Absolutely.
Like I said, just the way he fucking came out and stood toe to toe with Angela Bassett. You know?
Oh my gosh, yes. He's so intense. Like, especially at the end of that scene, he tells her, "Don't tell anyone about us, or I'll come back."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's like, we have an army.
Like, he tells her it's
more than your
blades
of
your
grass.
whole thing, or more than your blades of grass. So it's very fucking intense. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, and in my second viewing, which was so great, I found myself literally like with like a wet mouth, like salivating for the next Namor scene. I was like,
that's the thing too for me too. And I was like, and you know what? This made me miss Chadwick Boseman even more.
I agree,
because I was man, he would have just been bouncing off this dude like so bad, like these two badasses.
I can imagine
would have just been going fucking face to face. I was like, fuck,
that conversation, conversation, but it's with Chadwick and they're circling each other, maybe sizing each other up. Boy. Man, that would have been,
because, like I said, the way they were showing, Chadwick Boseman earlier in the screen of Marvel,
Yeah.
his walk, his presence. I was like, fuck, why does this guy have to be so good? Because I'm just missing Chadwick Boseman even fucking more.
So in his own way, Ryan Coogler paid an even more bigger tribute to, Chadwick Boseman by saying, like, you feel his lack,
bad,
real
bad.
I mean, but again, it's the fall of one king, but the rise of another king that we're seeing right now in Tenoch Huerta, who is amazing. And Joe, right here, you said it. I'd love a no more solo.
We said that too. We're like, we need it bad. We need it real bad.
I went to like the Regal comments on their Black Panther thing, like reading people's comments. That's everything that they're saying. They were like, get us this solo movie now. And I'm like, dude, I hope so. I pray for this dude to get that, man. That'd be fucking awesome. Because I was reading this other guy, like a comic book guy or whatever, and he was being very respectful, but we were going back and forth because he did a fan drawing of him versus Aquaman, and he was saying why Aquaman would win, because he was like, oh, the armies of Atlantis, blah blah, this and that. And I said, well, we've had a little bit. He said just film version versus film version. And I said, okay, we've had a little bit more time with obviously Jason Momoa's Aquaman. And I asked him for his reasoning, and he had some sound reasoning. And I said, I don't think we've yet to see everything.
Yeah, we haven't.
We're scratching the surface.
That's always kind of been like a one-way contest. Like every time they're pitted against each other, Namor comes out on top.
In the fan voting one, though?
Yeah.
He won in the fan voting too? Oh, wow. Damn, I did not know that. In the
Namor
DC versus Marvel.
Always been.
I need to go back and write on that guy's thing.
Yeah, he's always been more of a popular character than Aquaman has by far. Well,
Aquaman was like a comic relief for a long time.
For a long time, he was a fucking joke.
And fucking Robot Chicken, they were always tearing that guy a new ass. Like, oh, you can control fish. Like, it's like,
the way they draw Namor, it's like, no, this dude looks fucking scary and intense, and he looks like he'll beat your ass.
Oh yeah, yeah, and he's like you said, Aquaman was a nice guy in the comics. Namor has always been like kind of like you don't know which way he's gonna go.
And see, the thing is here too is that man, he does such a great job in this fucking movie where he looks fucking extremely intimidating, but then later when he's with Shuri, man, he comes off as like this badass fucking nice guy, this great king.
Oh yeah,
I mean, he looks very humble. He looks like
you keep saying it though, the charisma, right?
Yeah, it's just like, oh.
Tenoch Huerta in this movie is in good shape, but he's not Henry Cavill or The Rock.
He's not comic book, muscle.
But he's clearly powerful.
Yes.
And you see that or whatever, and the way he carries himself,
he's not flat.
No. Yeah, no, he's a good. Well, I heard some people were body shaming.
Of course,
even some comic book artists.
His body, Well,
but I'm like the way they draw.
But the way they draw it, like man, the fucking dude has like an 8-pack and he's fucking just ripped all over.
Hey, look at our shirt that Rizzo drew of us, whatever. Yeah. We're gonna talk about us. I'm like, damn. They're like, man, look at Chuck's neck on that. I was like, yeah, that's fucking.
Yeah, my fucking forearms. Like fucking Popeye.
Double A looks like Popeye. I was like, that's what comic book artists do. You know what I mean? Like, don't. Like, my girlfriend can draw. She's drawn me a couple times too accurate. I'm like, oh yeah, well, get rid of some of the chins.
The Rock just has that fucking comic book body. But how many other people actually do? You know? I mean, Chris Evans, okay, but Robert Downey wasn't fucking ribbed.
No.
But
this guy's 5'7", you know what I mean? So I read that or whatever. I mean, but again, I thought he looked in great shape. In fact, he looked like an ideal good shape.
And you could, obviously, as we've seen in Dark Knight Rises, you can hide the fucking how tall somebody is.
Yeah.
Because Tom Hardy is only about that size, I think. Yeah. But they make him look fucking massive in The Dark Knight Rises. Like, you can't even tell he's a short dude. Like, he looks fucking big.
Oh, yeah.
In Dark Knight Rises,
Joe put it right there, which is a great thing. That's another thing that people said that they were going for was that they were going for like that swimmer's body, right? He's in the ocean.
Which is perfect.
Like perfect.
You need like it's almost like a Michael Phelps, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And again, he didn't need to look tall because he's in the air a lot because they show him flying a lot, which is badass. Joe says Namor for the longest time was supposed to be one of Marvel's first. Yes, that's what we were talking about earlier, Joe. The Invaders and being on that kind of first team, and then the Defenders, who was on that team as well. Great comments, Joe. Thank you so much for.
I'm glad you're here, Joe.
Yeah,
it's
man.
Awesome that you're here.
But go ahead, Double A. Where do we go to next?
I loved it. I loved his back and forth with the Queen Ramonda. He was so fucking. He was like nice, but but very intimidating, where they took his fucking threat real seriously.
Yes, they did.
Because they show like Martin Freeman, I think afterwards, they kind of talk to him a little bit. They tell him, there's another nation.
This is Bilbo, right? Bilbo.
Yeah, Bilbo.
But he's
I can't think of.
I know
what he would other be.
But I forget his name in the movie though. What's his
Ross?
name? Agent Ross. Yeah, I wonder if he's related to. Thunderbolt
I don't
Ross.
think so.
We do find out who his ex-wife is, though. Which
Yeah,
I was like,
what the fuck?
oh, and you know what's so funny? I had just had a conversation with Jerry D today about how I had kind of forgot about her
I
character.
did too,
I was
because
like,
they haven't
yeah,
introduced her since Falcon and Winter
But
Soldier.
now what I'm hearing
But
is
now
that she's supposed to lead the Thunderbolts.
Yeah,
I guess she's going to be the de facto Norman Osborn, since there's no Norman Osborn in this world.
Yeah, I guess so.
I'm okay. It's okay. She was good. I thought she was
I
good.
mean, I really don't even care about the Thunderbolts, honestly. I really don't give a fuck. Yeah, yeah,
But you will.
yeah. She wanted to jump on his Peloton. Yeah.
That's right. She wanted to join. Yeah, I like that. I was like,
Yeah,
all
which we
right.
find out she's not some like kind of like mysterious character. She is the CIA
She is the
director.
So like the new Nick Fury?
Well,
Because
CIA.
there's no Shield. Right?
No, well, Shield was a whole different department. Than
She's like the
CIA.
Nick Fury of the
Yeah.
CIA. Okay.
Yeah,
I got you.
Shield was always something completely fucking different.
She looked good too. Yeah, she did.
Yeah,
look
she
good.
did.
I was
Elaine,
like,
Elaine
ooh,
always
Elaine.
looks amazing.
I think you're gonna think like, ooh, Elaine.
Yeah, Elaine always looks amazing.
Yeah.
From Christmas Vacation to Seinfeld to these movies. Yeah.
So this plot we're getting into, AA, I think we both agree was not our favorite, but it kind of moves the story along, right? Namor wants this scientist that created the drill,
Yeah.
the Wakandans. He tasks them with getting them for her. He's like, go get me the scientist. They don't really get a chance to agree or disagree. They're just like, we better find out, because they're more thinking like
They're
about
scared.
the vibranium.
There's another nation that has the power.
Yeah, and they're scared.
They never cared before about anybody else.
Right. And they weren't worried about anybody
And
finding
like,
vibranium.
and like you said, Shuri saw.
Mhm.
He's fucking loaded in vibranium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His adornments, and then also his spear.
Right there.
Yeah, if you kind of see it.
See it right there.
I gotta take the thing down.
Right there.
The banner down. Let me see. Oh, that's wrong. Shit. That's us. Let me see.
Right there. All this stuff right here.
Oh, there I did it again.
Right there.
Yeah. At the top of his neck, yeah. So try to get more on the screen. But even like I guess the things in his arms and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, probably that too. Right.
Mhm.
Probably still when he, boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom.
And again, I was kind of like, damn, how does Shuri recognize it? But then again, it's probably like, I don't know.
It probably has a look
Yeah, it
that,
probably has a look.
that we didn't
And
really
they're
see.
familiar with because they're Wakandan.
Yeah.
So again, remember the earlier scene we talked about? Queen Ramonda just got through telling people that they're like, there is no more vibranium. We're the only vibranium. Yeah. And then they kind of talk about it. Remember, right after he leaves, they're like, all the stories, like everything we told. Well, because they go to that council, and they're
that's
like,
right. Yeah, they kind of what do we do?
Right.
What do we do about this?
Right.
Because they've never had a threat like this ever before. I mean, this guy Namor just fucking went through
literally
Wakanda
strolled
security
in
and could have easily
in.
have killed the queen and the princess if he had wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be like if somebody he said it himself too in the action figures. He goes,
oh, really?
They show him seeing the figure for the first time, and he sees that big, like 10-inch one, and he's like, I wish I had this body right here, or whatever.
Man, that's
like,
so cool, though. I bet that's so fucking cool to see all that.
Somebody,
even this pop,
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure he's like,
in the camera here, if you're looking at it, it's on screen. I got I did pick up the Funko Pop there.
I'm sure he's like wow, yeah.
Oh yeah, man, and that too. You know what I mean? Where someone that's like, and he said he kind of did know of the character, whatever. He didn't know everything about it. But he was familiar with him, you know.
And I'm sure Marvel gave him, a shitload of comics.
Oh yeah,
they have all of them there, so I'm sure they gave him all the resources. But I mean, this was his to pretty much completely redo, whatever he wanted almost,
Yeah, because like we said earlier, AA about the representation thing, whatever. I mean, it might be something we never were really big on until we had the opportunity to feel what it felt like.
Yeah.
And then once we did,
yeah.
I love the way
it hit me hard.
He sounded when he talked.
Yeah.
Like I loved it. He just his regular voice, his regular speaking voice. And it sounded like people that we know. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, this sounds like, a Theo or an aunt or uncle or a dad or a grandfather. It was awesome.
He did it like in such a more regal way.
Yes, I do agree with you there. Like he came off like a king.
Yeah. Big time.
And that's why he didn't need to be a big guy. He didn't need to look big to be like, you know what I mean? Joe's always talking about the WWE guys. You got to be a big guy. I'm like, this guy's not a big guy. And I was very imposing. You know what I mean? But again, he knew he had power.
It's the way he does it, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like you said, he strolled into Wakanda right up to the queen.
Yeah.
It's like he walked right up.
Like he could have killed her.
Yeah. And he strolled up in a way and said, like, these are like what my demands are or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
just calm.
I came myself.
He wasn't shouting.
Yeah.
He wasn't fucking flying over.
What is that show, though? You don't come with an army. You don't come with the entourage. You don't come. That means that they're like, if this is the best you got, like, I'm not really that worried about you because I just walked right in and you're right here, and I could have just took you out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And again, I do think it would have been a different scene with Chadwick Boseman. I think it would have been a much different scene with Chadwick Boseman. No, Joe, I have not gotten the toy from Luck yet. I'm working on it though. If you could help put in a good word for me, I'd appreciate that. Luck got the version like this, like the this version of the toy set.
Nice.
Corey says, sorry guys, sorry if y'all didn't like it. I loved it. Great close to T'Challa and great intro to new characters and great end credit we got. Yeah, we're just halfway through, bud. We loved it. We absolutely loved it. I saw it twice, so I have nothing but good things to say. I hope that we're not coming across that way. But
I don't think
he says he was very cool, almost like
that's
Chadwick.
what I'm saying.
I agree.
I'm like, that's what made me miss it more, Joe. I was like, fuck.
Yeah, and I thought that too. I was like, man, Ryan Coogler.
Cool.
Hey, nice. There you go. Ryan Coogler did a great job.
And that's what I'm saying. And hopefully they keep Ryan Coogler more. That guy knows how to do a good story. You know, he knows how to direct.
I did want to ask you this question though. Now we do know that who was it? The Mexican director Alfonso Inarritu or whatever.
Oh yeah.
He has one of the ones that famously kind of shit on superhero movies. Right?
Okay,
but that's what I was going to ask you. Would you want a Mexican director to head up?
I like the way Ryan Coogler did it.
I thought he did great with Namor.
The way he presented Namor was just great. It's like Joe said, he kind of made him like a Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah, and it made me wonder though. I was like, what? I wouldn't want maybe that Robert Rodriguez because I'm like, what would his style be?
But you don't need it just because it's a Mexican. You really don't need a Mexican character.
I agree.
Just respect the character enough.
Totally.
Where I felt like I told you after it kind of marinated in my brain yesterday. We're having our texting yesterday. I was like, you know what? It feels really cool to kind of be represented this way. Like people are it's like he said, he's not a gangbanger. He's not some fucking punk off the street. Like, man, he came off just real badass. Like you felt the power coming off this dude. Yeah, this is someone I wanted to go buy his toy, put on his shirt. If they ever have a poster with him with the Aztec gear, I'm fucking getting that poster.
Double A knows if they had that thing for sale that he wears on his head and I had a better body, I would have come in here wearing that today.
I probably would have been wearing it too.
I'd have been wearing that shit on the show right now. I was like, it was fucking awesome.
I almost wanted to tell CM, shake the side of your head.
There we go. Get I don't know if I'm too old for that shit, baby. You know what? This guy,
you know what? He's really old too.
We're the same age, he and I.
Oh, okay.
He's 81, January 81, and I was like,
well, I was gonna say he's from the 1500s, but okay.
Oh well, yeah. I meant the actor. Yeah. I was like, dang, I could be Namor.
Yeah.
I mean,
but see, that's what I mean.
Namor.
That's what I mean. You know, I was like, man, the more and more it got to me, the more I started seeing postings. You know how the reaction was worldwide. Yeah, I was like, wow, this feels really kind of nice.
I just talked to you earlier too about there's this great, I guess they're doing like a promotional thing in like Mexico City, and like they put on Suavemente, you know, like everyone knows that song because it's like every, you know, Hispanic person loves it. And him, him and Lupita start dancing. He looks great. He's wearing all these great blue suit. Yeah. Shit, man, dude looks sharp. And they start dancing, and like they can both dance amazing. You know what I mean? Like
again, you can just feel the charisma off this dude.
Absolutely.
Like, big time.
Dude, I don't know if you saw this. And I don't know if anyone talked about it. I haven't read the comments yet, but he came out on Jimmy Kimmel, right?
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he came out on Jimmy Kimmel. And he tells the story that he didn't know how to swim. And
yes. I read that on IMDb, actually.
And he said it was funny because he said his meeting with Ryan Coogler went like this, that they were talking. Then the Zoom froze. He goes, for about 5 minutes. He goes, then Ryan Coogler came back and was like, so what do you think? You think you're in? He goes, oh, yeah, I'm in. He's like, I had no idea what he said. He's like, but I was like, dude, it's like Ryan Coogler. So Black Panther is like, of course, you know what I mean? But he was like, yeah, I didn't know how to swim. He said he did take lessons. He did learn how to swim. But it was so, what I noticed when he came out and he waves to the crowd. And instead of going right to Jimmy, who's already standing there, he goes to Guillermo. And he hits Guillermo first. I thought that shit was fucking tight. I thought that shit was fucking tight. I was like, yo, man, he gave it up first for the Latinos first. He was like, man, I'll give it up for my gente. And then he went, I was like, then he did. I think Jimmy kind of felt kind of some kind of way because he was kind of ribbing him a little bit after that. And I was like, but he was very gracious. He's very charming, very charismatic. So he took it all on the, you know, because he talked to me, he's like, I had to wear like a floaty and you know, Jimmy's like, oh, that must be embarrassing or whatever. And I was like, man, you being a bitch, Jimmy. That's I hope Matt Bourne's Jason Bourne's your ass. But it was very, very, very
Oh
cool.
man, and then I don't know if I shared that video or I just asked you about it, but when they drive him to see that mural,
Mhm.
I mean, already
Oh
people in
my
Mexico
gosh,
have already
yeah, man.
like
The
just
murals are
fucking-
up in Mexico, man.
It's him. Like,
Yeah.
like how fucking crazy is that as an actor?
Yeah,
And you represent this powerful character,
Yes.
this extremely powerful character, and people are painting. That's how much of an impact you've already made.
yeah,
That the people in Mexico are already painting murals of you to be that symbol, to be almost as a Superman.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that's what
Absolutely.
Namor is. And
I saw. Did you see? I don't know what premiere where it was at was premiering, but dude, there were guys in the crowd dressed like the character, and I was like, man, did y'all just look at the trailer
Golly.
only and like get the idea? But dude, he was like hugging them. He took pictures and stuff. Like I was like, man, that's like the shit right there. So very cool.
it's got to hit you hard. It's got to be like this is more like you got to start thinking like that's what kind of sucks when like the directors, the big time directors that me and CM love, that kind of shit on these, which is fine, and that's their opinion. They
Sure.
they come from a different background.
Mhm.
They never really made movies. The closest that ever made a movie like this was George Lucas
Right.
with the Star Wars
Right.
movies. No one else really made these kind of movies.
Yeah.
And right now these are the dominant movies right now. But I mean, these comics have been around for decades, longer than any of these directors have been
And
born.
Tarantino should know that. I mean, he's never shit on superhero movies, but
he's a
should
comic
know.
book guy.
Yeah, he's a comic book guy. Yeah.
And but like it's kind of like, man, these comic stories have been around for decades. They've influenced so many people,
I would
so
love,
many generations.
Yeah. I would love to hear what that Alfonso Inarritu says now with this, seeing a Mexican-born actor.
Still my shit on it.
I'm very curious what he would say
which
because I'd
that's
be
fine.
like,
Again, that's fine that they feel that way.
Yeah.
There's obviously this movie showed that in 1 week it made 300 million worldwide. They keep saying fatigue. No, when there's something that people are really into, there's no fucking fatigue.
what do we keep saying, though? Make a good movie.
Make
Brian
a good
Coogler made a
movie.
great fucking
and it
movie.
it fucking did more than Black
it.
Adam did in 3 weekends.
Shit, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it
Damn,
did. But I
that's-
mean, that's the power that this movie is having on the Black community and the Mexican community, especially the Mexican community. Because I can't even think of the last time we're represented this high.
I mean, I agree, man. I totally agree. Joe says he wanted to see me in green trucks. I got some green basketball shorts.
hey.
I can take some pictures for you, Joe, if you want. But I'll charge you from on my OnlyFans. Chuck, you can't swim. That is absolutely true. I cannot. So when I heard that Tenoch Huerta couldn't swim at my age, I was like, oh, I can still learn.
But
There's
he's learning
hope
for
me.
money.
Yeah. And he says that. He goes, oh, this is what I do to work out, get shape. He's like, no, really the motivation is they pay
the
me.
money.
He said, he was like, they pay me. I was
Because
like,
he knows
nice.
if he does really well and the fans react to him, man, he's going to be on this fucking for the next 10 years.
Dude, he could be, he could be facing off Kang in fucking Secret Invaders or
That
something.
too.
I want to see that shit.
Jonathan Majors and him. Shit.
Talk about losing and Jack, fucking Jonathan Majors.
Oh,
man.
man.
The year of Jonathan Majors coming up, right? Double A.
3 movies in
Fucking,
1 year.
Quantumania.
Yeah,
Fucking
the
Creed 3,
and then the World War II movie.
Yeah. The where he's the pilot, the World War II. Yeah,
Yeah.
that looked good too.
Yeah.
I was like, dang, Jonathan Majors, get it, boy. That shit's badass, man. He's Raza for sure. He says that what they don't understand is that these stories are great.
And that's the thing
stories to be
too.
told.
Like they know a lot of them are
Exactly.
comic book fans. They fucking know.
Where does everything?
You know?
Everyone's doing shit from Shakespeare. Everything's doing things from John Steinbeck. Everything comes from a source. This is just a different source. You know what I mean? It happens to be superheroes.
I mean,
it's the modern Greek mythology.
it's almost every young boy always has that comic face, no
Mhm.
matter what.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And that's where you get your inspiration from.
He says, "Can he drive though, Namor?" That I don't know. You know what? He can drive you to the box office. How about that?
Big time.
I heard your episode, Joe. You shitting on me about my driving, whatever. But like I told him, he said Jess has to drive me everywhere. But I said because she's the driving force behind me. See?
Behind every great man, there's
Yeah.
a great woman.
Without Jess, you don't get the Just Another Friday Night
No, you
show,
don't.
right? See, there you
No, you
go.
don't.
Or the logo. That's the truth.
You know,
Okay, Double A. So let's
my wife taught me how to drive.
Yeah, see that?
So,
there
you go.
So Jess, you're behind on that. Then yeah, see, yeah, right. But let's move from that. So they got to go get the who created
Yeah.
this thing.
So
They
this
find
is kind of the
out.
part that I thought kind of was kind of long. You find out it's like a 19-year-old,
19-year-old MIT student,
prodigy.
Riri Williams.
Yeah.
Who we knew was coming. People were saying, "Oh, we want to see an Ironheart show." They already announced that. That's already going to be a thing. There's going to be an Ironheart show.
So I didn't know anything about that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I didn't, and so I was kind of like, oh. the fucking kid thing again. I was like, fuck me. Like, we just saw this on Multiverse of Madness with America Chavez. You know?
Joe, my wife taught me too.
Okay.
Wow, okay.
Joe.
That's maybe that's the thing of our culture too as well. I'm gonna make Jess teach me now. She hates my attempts at driving.
Damn.
But yeah, so they go, Shuri and Okoye go.
Yes, which she kind of forces the Queen's hand about taking Shuri.
Yeah.
You know, Queen's like, Shuri's still not kind of over, like she's not in the right state of mind. She's kind of still locked up. She shouldn't go with you.
And she's on high alert because this guy just fucking strolled into
Wakanda. There's the fucking guy that none of the defenses fucking went off.
So she probably wants Shuri not in America, but here where the Dora Milaje, where there's like the, you know, our guard and like, you know, protections that we know.
Yep.
No, you can't take her. But Okoye is like, come on, maybe it'd be good for her, blah, blah, blah. And I could see where Okoye is coming from. I love Denai Guerrera. She's fucking great. She's wonderful as Okoye. And Michonne, she's a wonderful actress. So she does, and she wants to go. Shuri's like, when do we leave? Right? She's probably like, let's get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? So they go MIT,
but no battle experience for her whatsoever. You know, it's not like T'Challa, where T'Challa was, you know, battle tested, trained.
Although she is there in Endgame, right? They show her, she comes out with her, her blasters and
just that, not really like, you know, she can't handle herself.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
Okay.
You know, and she doesn't really take anything with her. You would think she would have took some protection.
Yeah,
but she
just
doesn't.
The beads. She
just the beads.
Yeah. And she goes in there. And she was kind of right, though. I agreed with her. She's like, let me talk to her because I'm young and like, you know, I could pass as a student. And they chat, and she pretty much finds out this gal is a genius or whatever.
Super genius.
That's really cool or whatever.
But I was just kind of like, hey, did this story really need it? Like, I was hoping there was going to be someone big in the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
You know,
I think they also are promoting this character because they're moving towards a young Avengers. So it's like you need the young Iron Man, obviously. Which again, I thought she was a great actress. She did great. Later on, we see more of that. It's cool. I just, I wonder if there was another thread to move the story along. This is obviously the thread that moves the story along.
They had to change everything. I wonder how this movie would have looked with Chadwick Boseman.
Right. And I also wonder too, like, you know, they hinge a lot on them just meeting this new person and not wanting any harm to come to her. I'm like, you're talking about, you know, not even international war, but potentially global war, because this guy is like, you don't know what he is. And I'm not saying you should just give up. You know, someone, again, it's the Captain America thing, right? Captain America would probably say like, no, you stand on the side of what's right, which is don't let this girl get hurt or whatever, even if it risks war. But I'm like, fuck, that's asking a lot. You know what I mean? Like, you know, from the Wakandans or whatever, who are kind of, there's a lot, the CIA is already thinking it's them that try to stop them from
because they're the only ones with vibranium that they know of. They're the only ones that have the vibranium.
Yeah, and Ross tells him that he's like, hey, some of those guys that jumped off the thing were my men. They were my friends, whatever. He's kind of pissed off at the Wakandans, and they're like, it wasn't us. We guarantee you, whatever. But he
believes them. He does.
But he doesn't like being in the dark. He's like, well, you can tell me that it wasn't you, but you're not telling me anything else. Like, well, if it wasn't you, who the fuck was it?
Which they did. And they do.
Like,
they're like, there's another nation, an underwater nation that
like, we can't say anymore for our own safety.
Well, we can't say anything. Yeah.
So suffice to say, they find Riri Williams. She's not called Ironheart yet or whatever, but she's the super genius. She takes Okoye and Shuri to her lab because they want to know, like, hey, how did you build that machine? Yeah, it's like a garage. And
because when you see it, it's just like, it's nothing but scrap parts. There's nothing fancy about this.
Right.
It's all scrap parts here and there.
And they're like, why did you build a thing to detect vibranium? And she's like, I didn't. I built a thing for my metallurgy class.
It was like a project, so she didn't even know it was.
So we're missing something, right? There's a piece of service that like what professor saw it or whatever that put it in the hands of the CIA, because obviously
it's almost like if anyone has ever seen like Real Genius. That's kind of what the laser they built for. You know, they're thinking they're just building like a laser to pass, but it's actually a military weapon that can zap an enemy from space.
Damn.
You know, so yeah.
I didn't realize that plot was that heavy.
Yes, it was. When I saw it again, I was like, oh wow, Real Genius is kind of pretty heavy.
Isn't Project X kind of like that too? With the Matthew Broderick one? I think that's the one too where he's like he hacks in.
War Games.
Project X. What the fuck? Yeah, is that kind of the same thing? He kind of hacks in, right?
Yeah, because he thinks it's a video game.
A video game,
a fucking military program.
That's kind of interesting. Look at us bringing it back to the 80s right there.
Well, but Real Genius is that though. So
Justice. Did y'all think it was
Yes.
too long
Yes.
for us? Do y'all think it took too long for us to see the?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think we kind of sensed it might come at the end, but it was like you could have pushed that up a little bit.
Yeah.
Then Joe says here, he says, now y'all hear the professor rumor. No, I haven't heard that. Joe, what is the professor rumor? It might have been Doom. Now that would be fire. Yeah,
that would be something.
That would be really, really rad if that was Dr.
Wow.
Doom. Yeah.
Okay, I can get behind that then.
That is fucking cool. I had not heard that rumor. That's a great rumor.
I had it.
Now, what would be his reasoning though? To get his own vibranium, to get his hands on vibranium
That
himself?
too.
Okay, I like it, Joe. The good drop right there in the comments. Okay, so they're at Riri's lab.
It all goes to shit. They found out, the Wakandans are in America, in Chicago,
and we see a Mach 1 type suit that Riri has. She flies out in it, and then Shuri and Okoye go separate ways. Good little chase scene. There's great action throughout this movie. Like Marvel does not ever fail to deliver on that.
Was Cal entertained?
I think he
at
was.
This point throughout?
From what I could see, he was engaged. Yeah, and he
Okay.
did actually pee once, so that was also another. I was like, oh, he's doing good or whatever.
Okay.
I don't think he was drinking too much. So he was drinking water. Yeah.
Yeah.
He did really good. Or
Me and
whatever.
you had a beer.
So, yeah, me and you had a beer. Yeah, which that I think I did have to pee at one point.
Yeah, I think you did.
I was like, I knew it was going to happen though, so thankfully. Yeah. So now we get another scene on the bridge. We get the first encounter of the Wakandans in the Atlantis. The Talokan on the bridge. Talokan, yeah, the Talokan people of Talokan on the bridge. So, and who do we get a face off between them? But probably one of the greatest Wakanda warriors besides the Black Panther,
probably Okoye, probably the number one fighter for Wakanda,
the general of the Dora Milaje. Although you could use, obviously T'Challa is up there, M'Baku is up there, but when it comes to the Dora Milaje and shit, Okoye is the general, and she's facing off against Namor's general Atuma.
Yeah,
and
which I was like, whoa.
When have we ever seen the Dora Milaje get schooled? We have not seen that.
She got her ass beat.
She got schooled, and I was like, oh shit! Like they made them.
And again,
badass.
It's so cool, to see Atuma. I'm like, man, that's a really badass Submariner branch.
He looks distinct. The headdress is Does this look similar in the book?
No. They're blue, but obviously they're going for the Mayan look. So it's not going to kind of be the same, but very cool. They already established him as kind of like a very dangerous kind of character, a very capable fighter. Yeah, not necessarily the professor, Joe says, but that'd be cool. The one that'd be cool too. Yeah, I like to imagine him behind the scenes, like making it happen. Like, oh, there's a new machine online, and he can, when they do Doom, they've got to do him. You can twerk his origin a little bit, or you don't have to make him so arrogant like the way he is in the comics. You can keep the arrogance a little bit, but you don't have to make it full force. But you do got to make him really well rounded because Doom is one of these characters. He's very fucking regal at the same time. He's a very real leader of the world because he is a leader of the world. I think his arrogance is a big part of him, though. That's all about him. Yeah, that's how he looks in the. Oh, okay, interesting. All right, like there's a vibe to it. I can kind of see. Yeah. Okay, very cool, very cool. Double just showed me a picture of. It's almost like a Namor, almost. Doom. Because they are friends. They still have a friendship to this day. Again, there's very few. Well, I don't know. I wouldn't say very few, but when you think about made-up places in the Marvel universe, it's like Wakanda, Latveria. Atlantis, Latveria, Wundagore. Wundagore. Nice. But for the most part, they're in whatever Savage Land. You know what I mean? Like the X-Men live in Westminster, was it Westchester? Westchester. All the rest of them are in New York. You know what I mean? So. Very interesting. Jeremy's in the house. Jeremy says, "What's up? What's up, Jeremy? We're talking. You're watching on YouTube. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Have you seen it? If you have not, Jeremy, we may ruin it for you. If your mom has. Yeah, your mom has. If you don't mind spoilers, stick around. And if you want to go see it, I'll go see it with you again. I want to see it again. It's really, really great. Third time, Jeremy. I know you'll love it, man. For sure." Joe says, rumor was he was going to be in the movie, but they thought they had and two, Kevin Feige is smart too. You don't want to throw everybody at once, Doom has to be kind of like how Namor is in this movie. Right. What I think what Kevin Feige knows is that he knows that we're like in the know now, right? Like the fans. So he knows we already know Kang is coming.
So number
Yes.
one, Kang's got to live up to Thanos in many ways.
Oh,
So-
and I think they will.
Yeah.
I absolutely.
And if Kang starts fucking killing people, like if he kills Ant-Man or something like that, it's gonna be like, okay,
Yeah.
he's on his way or
Yeah.
whatever, because Thanos was a badass, and he killed a lot of people, but they came back.
But
and-
Kang is on that level too. in
Right,
the
right.
comics.
We got to get through this Kang saga before we're moving on to like Doctor Doom. I think Doctor Doom could be his
He can be
whole
his
own thing.
own. Yeah.
and you really show the Doom as Doom. You know what I mean? Let's see. Joe says, I'm watching on YouTube, my TV, and commenting on Facebook. Oh, thank you, man. Appreciate
Thanks,
that.
Joe.
Hey, doubling up there. We appreciate the
You
viewage there.
skipped the. Skip the other one. Yeah.
Jeremy says,
Yeah,
I haven't seen it,
but I've
but
heard. And
all
then,
good things. Wonderful.
and then he goes, but my buddy spoiled,
Damn
a lot
it.
for me.
Yeah. Tell your buddy not to be spoiled.
Your buddy sucks, Jeremy.
Yeah, your buddy sucks. Hey,
He's
tell him
not
to
a
say
real
so.
buddy.
Yeah. Tell him to watch our show, subscribe, and then
'Cause
you can hear how he
I
sucks.
always tell people, you fucking ruin everything for me. I'm gonna beat your ass.
Yeah, see, just beating your ass. That's what you don't want. So there's that for
I
you. right there.
manhandle like 80-pound windows. I'm
Yeah.
gonna manhandle you if you tell me any fucking spoilers. Yeah.
I was gonna say, there it is, right there. Man. This guy used to be a tag team with your uncle back in the old days.
Oh
Jeremy.
yeah.
Joe says Kang looks like he's gonna be a super.
He
badass
is.
fighter. Oh yeah,
That,
he
real,
comes
real
off
quick
that
to
way.
kind of sidetrack.
Mhm.
That fucking trailer looks amazing. It made me more pumped up for fucking Ant-Man than I have ever been for Ant-Man. Like seriously.
Oh yeah,
That whole fucking quantum realm where he has his own, he built a whole fucking city there where he can go through any probably time, placement he wants to go to. And then when he showed me the King outfit,
double A, right? When he's coming down,
Man.
descending, and that purple lights on his
I was
face.
like, oh,
I was like, holy
Man.
shit, Kang is fucking looking very Kang right now.
ah.
And we
And
know
I'm
he's
loving Jonathan Majors. I'm fucking loving that dude. Every
his
time
face,
I
it's
see
the way he
it.
does his eyes, even in the Creed trailer, right? Where he's like, what's up, man? Can I get an autograph?
Oh,
Like, you're like,
man.
woo, this boy is
Yeah,
like, this
yeah.
dude's cocky as fuck, man.
Yeah.
Like, I like it. I'm there
can't
for it,
wait.
though, man.
I can't fucking wait for him to be king. Like I was super excited when he said he was going to be king, and then when he came on the Loki series at the end,
Yes.
man, I was just fucking nervous the whole time that him and Loki were having a conversation. I was like, ooh,
Oh, yeah.
boy.
Yeah, very nerve
I was
wracking.
like,
You know what I mean?
shit.
And we didn't get what we heard that happened at D23, the trailer. We didn't get that trailer where they
No.
said that supposedly he asked him, have I killed you
Have I
before?
killed you?
Which
Yeah.
is like very scary, right? I mean, and I know I've
Wow.
said boy twice. It doesn't mean it in that sense. I mean boy like in my boy, like you're my boy, not like boy. You know what I mean? Like boy,
no.
not like boy.
No,
You know? Not like that. No, I never say like that.
No,
Never.
no.
So, but I just mean like, damn, like again, the guy looks in great shape. I'm like, I'm ready to
man,
see the
he looks
motherfucker.
like a fucking monster.
Yeah.
In Creed 3.
I am ready to see him. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
They gave him like Clubber Lang vibes where he's like you know what I mean? Like he's murdering dudes. You know what I mean? So that looks very badass. Like I felt like they were making him Tyson-esque when he comes out in that one scene where he's got like the hood and he's like, yeah,
You kind of
that-
called it, yeah, because that's the way Sylvester Stallone builds him up. That's what's so great about Rocky 3 when they're playing Eye of the Tiger,
Mhm.
where they're showing like Rocky's like enjoying the fucking life now.
yeah.
And this is the new hungry guy coming
Oh
in.
yeah.
This is the new Rocky that's coming in, but this guy has more power and he's killing people.
Just and this everything, Mr. T in that is so fantastic because he's in incredible shape. And when he's doing the workout, just like in that basement or whatever,
Yeah.
working out,
yes.
his
Yes.
fight interview. What's your prediction? Pain.
Pain.
I'm like, fuck. And then when he cuts the ultimate of all ultimate promos at the Rocky
Oh,
statue,
yeah.
I was like, holy
But-
shit.
But we're getting this from Ryan Coogler. So, man, he's, Stallone's a pretty good writer. But I think Ryan Coogler, after seeing so many of his movies, this dude knows how to make a badass.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And Michael B. Jordan directing, so I can't wait to see
That too, but Ryan
debut.
Coogler probably helped a lot.
Oh, I have no doubt he
Helped
was,
him a lot,
Yeah,
probably.
definitely. So he says it definitely looks like it's going to be dark. Absolutely, Quantumania. I don't think it's going to be.
And this is what we were laughing at, Joe. Yeah, like it showed it back to back to back. Where I told my cousin Amy, I was like, watch. Oh, look, there he is again. And then look, there he is again. I'm like, man, this dude's gonna fucking kill
if
it.
you don't know Jonathan Majors' name right now, you will next year. You'll definitely know his name next year for sure. Because that World War II movie looks like it could be Oscar worthy.
It could be too.
It could be Oscar worthy. So that'd be great. Again, if you
Man,
haven't,
I needed to see that one.
oh,
many
it's so
people-
good.
My buddy Ish
So-
has told me about it. You have told me about
Yes.
it. Joe has told me about it. I need to fucking see that.
Jess does not like westerns, and she loved it. It is.
Oh, and then I love westerns.
Your wife will
I
love
love
it too,
fucking
because-
westerns.
yeah.
You know,
Your
so-
wife will like it. It's
Okay.
a great, actually. She'll be pumped up. It's
Okay.
very, very good. Jeremy says, When I come over again, we got to go see it. Absolutely, bud. Holidays are coming, man. We got to get our turkey on together. So hopefully we'll see you next week for sure. All right, so good sidetrack there, Double A, but get us back on track. So they obviously face off against the Wakandans and the Talokan face off.
They win. They win pretty convincingly.
Pretty readily.
He destroys Okoye.
Okoye. Mm-hmm.
They Shuri. They don't kidnap Shuri. Shuri says, "I will go,"
because they're like, we're gonna take the girl and kill her now.
And she's like, "Take me too, so I can talk to you, Namor."
Yeah.
So they take her. And so yeah. So now you're like, fuck. They made a statement big time.
And real quick, I want to talk a little bit more, just real quick, Double A, at the end of that scene, the great Denai Guerrera as Okoye, that scene in the water, dude, you fucking felt her pain.
Yeah.
Where she was like, I can't lose the fucking princess.
Yeah.
And when she screams, she's like, wow. Yep. You're like, fuck.
Yep.
Like,
I
felt her fucking pain. Man.
You know what's coming.
Yeah. And both times I felt it because, too, she loves Wakanda and she loves the royal family. It's not just like she calls Queen Ramonda mother. You know what I mean? Like that's her life, man. That like they said later on, she took up her own spear against her own husband for Wakanda. Yeah. So like her losing the princess, that's like being bad at her job, but she does not want to be bad at her job. I mean, like I thought that was a very powerful scene. It struck me both times I saw it. I was like, fuck, that scene is powerful, man.
Joe makes the comment here, which I thought that was amazing. Those water bombs are crazy. So the only way I can imagine it is like somehow this fucking spear is able to pretty much capture, I guess, what a fucking big old wave would be almost. Yeah. Like a big, powerful fucking wave almost.
We've all been in the water and got hit by a wave where you felt current underneath you and you get scared. I mean, like, again, I already said Joe has said it too. I can't swim, so I only go so deep when I'm in the ocean, and then I'm like, all right, that's far enough, Yeah, the water bombs were very crazy and very effective. Very powerful weapon. Very cool. And this is also where we see them show up on whales.
Yes,
which was neat.
Yes,
there's a killer whale, and then there's I think it's a sperm whale.
Probably is.
No, don't quote me on that. Marine biology, not my strong suit.
Nope.
But that was cool. So it showed them,
very cool.
We did in the water. Do we cut right from here to being in Talokan?
Either that or it's the other
back in the throne room.
I can't remember, but I mean both scenes are pretty much put together.
We want to go first.
Let's do the Wakanda scene because I thought that was very powerful.
So we get Okoye there in the throne room. She's before the queen. She's basically telling that she's relaying what we just saw on screen, and she's like, "I want to leave right away to go try to retrieve the princess, whatever." And then Queen Ramonda,
she's having none of it.
Tears her an ass.
She tells her a big ass. So if you ever had a boss where you fucked up on something, this is what this was.
Yeah.
Right away, she strips her. She says
you're not the general no more.
Not the general anymore.
I mean, she rolls that one tear, and I was like rolling a tear. I was like, no, you need her. She's like the best. She's the best fighter.
Until she starts mentioning everything.
She's like, I told you not to take her. She's like this, and then she's like, and she starts to say, "Can I speak freely?" She's like, "Go ahead." She's like, I sacrificed everything, for this. And that's not the right thing to say to the queen at that moment.
No.
Because then she says, you sacrificed everything? No.
Angela Bassett blows up.
It is very powerful. And how they all maintain the dialect of an African accent so well that they're delivering these powerful,
I've heard Angela Bassett and
and we've heard Denai Guerrera also too. Is she American?
Yes,
she might be I don't know. Not sure where she's from, but she speaks like an American accent. But so when they're all doing the Wakandan accent, it's very, very spot on. It's wonderful. Joe has a comment here. Joe says, "The sea was angry that day, my friends." Costanza. Yeah, the sea was angry that day. No doubt, brother. It's a very, very moving scene. It's a very, very powerful.
She was born
scene.
in Iowa.
Okay, so
I
mean, Denai Guerrera does not sound.
She has African roots, but she was born in Iowa. So
this is a great scene. Again, one of the council speaks up. He's like, maybe we're being too hasty. Maybe we're, whatever. And that's when Queen Ramonda acts like a queen and is like, no, what I say goes. This is what we were missing from King Viserys in House of Dragon. I'm like, yo, be the king for 5 minutes, motherfucker. You're the king. Time. I'd be like, shut the fuck, man, chop off all these motherfuckers' heads. Queen Ramonda was like, when she snapped, it was like everybody was like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said shit. I shouldn't have said shit. And yeah, she had their asses in check.
She's
and,
like, my husband got murdered. I lost my son. My daughter might be dead right now.
Yeah.
She's like, there is no bigger sacrifice than what I've gone through. And I told you not to take her.
Not to do it. Exactly. So that was the straw that broke the camel's back. She was fired. Okoye leaves. So now,
what that is a great fucking scene.
Oh, like, yeah.
I was not expecting that. Like, no. I was blown away. I loved, like, more and more. Yeah. The more I was seeing Angela Bassett, the more I was fucking falling in love with her. Because I was like, damn.
And as much as I loved her in that scene, I was fucking Ralph Wiggum with my heart breaking because I was like, no, not Okoye. Like, she's fucking awesome. Yeah, I was like that. I was like, but also I was like, I didn't hate Angela Bassett because she was right.
She was right. I was like, this is why she like, holy shit.
Don't you hate that double A? When you get called out and you're like, man, I fucking hate it. Like, I don't have a good argument for this shit.
I was like, you're right.
You're right. So yeah, so that happens. And then I was like, what are you gonna do now? Like, that's what I was thinking. I was like, what are you gonna do now? So she goes to Shuri's lab and she's got the foresight and smartness to be like, computer, whatever the computer's name is, and like where
yeah.
She's like, did she have her Komoyo beads? And she's like, yes, but they're here. And she's like, what about the ones on her ears? And then she's like, oh yeah, because Shuri's also got Komoyo bead earrings. Very smart. Shuri's very smart.
Yeah.
And she does track them to like a point in the water, which it shows on the map, like Central America.
Yeah. Yeah.
So very cool, right? You're like, oh shit, we're in like the Mesoamerica area now, right? So Queen Ramonda, again, being a wonderful, wonderful ruler and being smart. Because I was wondering what she was going to do next. I was like, what the fuck are you going to do? You don't have Shuri. You just fired Okoye. Like, what the fuck are you going to do? You're going to call him Baku. He doesn't know anything about what the fuck technology and shit. So what does she do? She goes and searches out a person that we've been missing for a while, right? Double A.
Yeah.
Nakia, played wonderfully by Lupita Nyong'o. Looked like a fucking $1 million, right? Double A, like a fox. Yes. I mean, we were both like, holy shit, my eyes are jumping out of my skull here.
Griot?
What are we talking about?
The AI?
Oh, yeah. It had a name.
Griot?
I couldn't remember.
It was right here.
It was like her Jarvis.
Right here.
Griot. Yeah, I don't know. I know she called it something.
It's Trevor Noah that does the voice.
No shit.
Yeah.
I love Trevor Noah.
Wow.
Oh my God. And he's leaving the Daily Show. I'm super sad about that because he's amazing and super intelligent as well. So she asked agree with the Jeep Griot. So she asked Griot, I guess Trevor Noah, about that. And again, she ends up in Haiti with Nakia, Lupita Nyong'o, and she's like, this is what happened.
She looks fucking amazing.
Yeah. Amazing. Like a kukukan. There we go. I got it right this time. And and she's like, I need your help or whatever, you know what I mean? And she's like, you didn't come to T'Challa's funeral, and she says
that was kind of hard too, because I was kind of like, ooh, that's the kind of question that nobody kind of wants to face. It's like, he loved you so much, or you loved him, and
Jeremy.
And it's kind of like, damn, when you get asked that question, it's like,
oh yeah, ooh. I mean, that's awful, man. I mean, like, I've known family members that didn't go to their own mom's funeral, and it's like, yikes, but death is hard, man. I mean, like,
it is.
Just as pretty badass, because in the initial casting of Bassett, they couldn't have
thought that her role was going to be this big or important.
Exactly,
but she's a great actress.
So another pat on the back to Ryan Coogler, right? Because like you're in the absence of Chadwick Boseman, the primary character, the Black Panther. The movie's named after him. You're in the absence of everyone steps up. Right? Isn't it just like when Tim Duncan's out of the game, you need all the role players to step up. You know what I mean? When those times would pop, and again, I hate to relate, a death to like a sports analogy, but just for the sake of argument, meaning that the rest of your team steps up to the plate in a big way, and they did. They super did. Everyone's acting is spot on. Shit, if it was up to me, I would fucking give the whole movie a nomination. Everyone get a nomination because they were all incredible. I mean, like the emotion that they were revealing through their eyes, through their body language. I mean, there's multiple scenes of them crying, and it's like, and it's real. You feel it. You know what I mean? Shuri in the very beginning on the casket, it's like, fuck. You know what I mean? Like that shit's deep. So what do you get the feeling of right here? Double A, does Nakia kind of reluctantly agree? Or we were kind of talking about her, questioning her about the not coming to the funeral, and she says, I couldn't mentally connect.
Of course, I didn't agree with her, but then we find out later.
Yes.
Why. Yeah. So I was kind of okay, cool.
Yeah.
But she asked her though, like, I need you. Okay. Forget all that.
Mm-hmm.
I need you. I need your skills. You're still Wakandan, forever. You're always going to be that, Wakanda forever. Yeah. You're always going to be that, I need your skills. An in and out mission. You can't be seen. No one can know about you.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Because these motherfuckers can bring war up on us. You know what I mean?
Yeah. She tells them about them. They have vibranium. They're a very powerful nation, but I need you. They have Shuri. We don't know if she's dead or not. We have her location. We need you to just go in and out, secret, quiet, under the radar where no one can see you.
Yeah. True, like stealth.
So she's kind of like
mission. Man.
She's like, okay, I'll do it.
Yeah.
She goes on a mission. She kind of tries to find, she goes to this village where she hears about information about Namor.
Yeah.
They tell her about it,
Kukulkan.
Yeah, from the beach. There's this beach that he pops out sometimes, that may be the location. I don't know.
And she's speaking like exceptional Spanish.
Yes,
right
I was like, wow.
Like I
shit.
dream of being able to talk even a fraction
I thought
of that.
she learned for this movie, but CM told me that apparently she's fluent in
very
Spanish.
fluent. She speaks Spanish all the time. Yeah, very fluent. So it was amazing. I was like, holy shit, that's fucking awesome.
Now, the only thing I didn't think of, or I didn't think she could do, was speak
the Mayan. And she switches into that too.
Because I was kind of like, how did she know that language? Because I was assuming that's like a dead language.
That was a dead language. Yeah,
that nobody would even know how to speak that fucking language.
Yeah.
So
and when we first see her too, she's speaking French because they're in Haiti, which I didn't really spoke French in Haiti, but maybe they're teaching that there.
Maybe.
Well, because later on, Shuri even says she says merci. She's telling merci to the people.
That's right.
So I don't know if French is native in Haiti. If somebody can tell me that, I'd appreciate knowing. But it's very cool. Like you said, she agrees to go. She goes, and being the badass that Nakia is, AA, right? She retrieves them. But before all that,
this is during.
But yeah, the concurrent scene is that Shuri is there in Talokan.
She's fine.
Yeah. And in fact, they bring her a dress, and they're like, "Please dress.
You need your royalty. You need a dress and royalty.
You're a princess. You're dressing a princess, okay?" And Riri Williams again is against it. She's like, "Don't put that on. That shit is like from other movies." It's kind of a cool scene. They reference other movies, and they bring them food and stuff. They're being hospitable. Yeah, I forgot what movies she references. Yeah, but she's like, "Don't. Every time you dress like you get dressed, something bad happens or whatever." So I think she even says like Princess Leia or something like that.
Yeah, it could be.
She mentions Star Wars like that. I saw it twice and I can't remember that part because there's so many other great parts. But Shuri agrees. She puts on the thing. Just Haiti was held by France. I did not know that. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate that. Also,
the big brain on bread.
Look at the big brain on Joe. I know, right? She showed how badass she is sneaking in. Yeah, Nakia showed herself being very badass, and she also showed having a great ass.
Hey.
Sorry, I had a few beers. Yeah. So again, while that conversation is happening with Queen Ramonda, we're seeing what's going on with Shuri, and she's there, and she puts the dress on, and she goes to meet with Namor, who I was like, is he trying to breed a little bit of courting? Is what I was kind of curious about at first.
Yeah, I didn't think that. I was just like, man, this dude looks fucking real regal right now.
Real regal, man. He was dressed sharp. He was in front of the Mesoamerican paintings on the walls.
Yeah, and it looked like he was drawing.
Yeah.
Doodling.
And what does he do, AA? He pretty much tells her about himself. You know what I mean? He's like, again, gaining trust, opening up, telling you hey, look, this is where I'm coming from or whatever. He starts to tell her about, this is what happened. This is why I look the way I look. This is why my people came to be here.
He says very nonchalant, cool. I'm a mutant.
Yeah. Which I was like,
which if CM was next to me, I would have been like,
yeah.
But I couldn't because my cousin Amy was.
And I was like,
I don't think she realized what a big old kind of thing that he just said.
Yes, and I know when I saw it by myself, I wanted to do that to Jess. I went and I was like, you don't know what I'm talking about.
You don't know.
So on my second time, I was kind of looking over at you, I was like, how is he moving? Is he seeing? Is he freaking out in his seat?
I was like, holy shit!
I was like, it was just out there, and I know that they said, I think they said mutant in the Ms. Marvel show.
They did, but it's like.
This is different. This isn't the fucking theater, y'all. This is this is not a movie that everyone's gonna see. We run a pop culture podcast, and we still haven't seen the Ms. Marvel show. So I know they said it there, and that was first.
But it's just it's almost like a non-impact. This was more.
This was way more.
This was millions of people watching this now. You know.
how many $million? $700 million worth?
Right now, 400 million, and only growing right now.
So yeah, and it's on the big screen, and it's in a movie that everyone's going to go see because it's the Black Panther Part 2. You know what I mean? So I mean, he just drops that right there. He's like, "That's why my ears point to the sky, and that's why I have the wings on my feet." And you're like, "Oh."
But what I love too, and
cool.
I even told Amy, I go, "Oh, history lesson." Right now, when it kind of goes back. When it goes to like 15, like I forgot what year it was.
Right. And she's like, "You've been around that long?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he tells her also.
Which I was kind of like, "Oh, wow."
Yeah.
I was like, I don't think they've ever mentioned Namor's age before.
Right.
So I was kind of like, huh.
That's very cool. And you're making that like canon, right?
Yeah.
So then he goes and tells the story about his mom and the people being driven away by the Spaniards. Now, this is like a real life history lesson, right? Double A, because it's like that should happen.
Yeah.
I saw that in Apocalypto.
Yes. At the very end.
And he's like, they didn't like that, so they wanted another way. So they prayed or whatever, and pretty much then there was like the one guy that went down and got the blue herb or whatever. We're like, oh shit, the same herb as like Wakanda. Yeah. They find that they make this potion out of the herb or whatever, and it doesn't let them breathe air no more. They got to go under the water. His mother didn't want to drink it because she was pregnant. And then she eventually gets convinced.
Because did you tell them that they have smallpox? That's what the conquistadors
that's
bought?
what he said. Yeah. Oh yeah. This part to me, like, just again as a Mexican American, was like very badass because he pretty much shits on the Spaniards and even on the language.
True, because like I was saying to my wife, I was like, this fucking history that I was taught hid a lot of bullshit for me. About Columbus, about this shit, the conquistadors. I always thought the conquistadors were fucking great people, and hearing about them coming over here, them killing people for gold, them introducing new diseases, like never before. I was like, wow, I was taught a lot of bullshit history. And I was kind of pissed off, because like everything I've learned when I was a kid is fucking bullshit. So yeah, that's kind of like seeing this is kind of like cool. They're finally acknowledging what these people actually brought to North America,
and that's just like a regular history fact right there. And again, I was having a conversation through Messenger with my good buddy Johnny, who's a Puerto Rican guy. We used to work together at my very first job in a movie theater. We were talking about the movie and how much we loved it, how much we loved the representation, right? And I was telling him, I said, dude, have you ever seen John Leguizamo's Latin History for Morons? I've mentioned this special
yeah, you did
more than one time on this show, guys. Please go watch it on Netflix. It's an hour and 31 minutes of your time. If you feel like Double A just said he felt, which is exactly how I felt, and I felt even more so after I learned this about how much they took out of the fucking history books. And here's another thing, guys. A lot of this premieres and all this stuff, they did a lot of shit in Mexico City. They were hanging out in Mexico a lot. And you know what else I found out recently too is just how much the American media, I don't want to get all political, but they make us afraid of Mexico.
No,
right?
it's true. Man, I feel like everything I was taught was a fucking lie.
Yeah.
Everything.
My boss was telling me stories today about Mexico City, how beautiful it is, how clean it is.
Yeah.
A fellow coworker of mine, Maribel, just got back from Mexico City visiting, and she goes, Chuck, there were no homeless people, on the streets, whatever. And again, we don't supposed to call them homeless anymore now. Unhoused people.
Okay,
I didn't know that. Better political term.
I didn't know that.
She goes, and it's very clean. Everyone's very polite. It's not at all like what you would think. I mean, like when I think of Mexico City in my mind, I think of like from the Denzel movie with Dakota Fanning where she gets kidnapped and they're like, Man on Fire. And it's like fucking looks scary and like fucking assault weapons in the street and shit like that. I mean, I'm terrified, but that's all I've ever been shown, so it's like, what the fuck, whatever. But apparently not the case, guys. I mean, like do your own research, find out or whatever. If you want to visit, I mean, like it is the motherland, right? You know what I mean? Like, I would love to go now. And again, it made me kind of sad that I wasn't maybe more interested, in some of those things until seeing this movie. But it makes me happy that seeing this movie made me think about those things. Made me be like, man, like, it made me feel more proud, and Xolo Maridueña, who plays Miguel on Cobra Kai, did a great post where he said, cannot express how happy and prideful I feel to see, Tenoch Huerta on the screen, in the Black Panther. I mean, the dude, he was gushing, man. He was literally like, right. It was a great tweet, right? Double A.
Yeah.
How he felt.
Me? Yeah.
And I was like, dude, like the people are coming out, man. Like they fucking feel hyped for this.
And really it really is,
Let's get some comments in here. It's why we have a lot of Haitians populated Louisiana and a lot of French spoken there. Did
Now,
not know
see,
that.
New Orleans, I knew about Louisiana because I was a French colony.
Right.
So I always kind of knew about that.
And the Creole language, yeah.
Not the before.
Sorry. The first mutant, right?
Yes,
correct,
he's always been credited
and that's
as that.
even in
the old days.
comic
That's
canon.
always been.
Not the first in Marvel Cinematic Universe, but actually the first in comics, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But
yes.
age-wise, we would say he is the first mutant now, Joe,
Well,
in the canon.
See, now in the Marvel Universe,
am I wrong?
I don't. Yeah, because Apocalypse is always considered the first.
Oh, right. But I mean, movie
in comics,
cinematic.
Well, even then too, because in the Marvel Universe, in
the Marvel Cinematic Universe, yeah. Because I know Ms. Marvel said it first, Joe, but we know that he's older because they already said he's older. So,
but he's asking too. But he's actually the first in the comics, right? And
well, yeah, in the comics, I think it's Apocalypse. Yeah, that would have been the one that was first credited. Fuck no, they raped and pillaged our people. Yeah,
that's what absolutely. I'm saying. And actually, when you start learning more and more, you're kind of like, man, I didn't learn any of this stuff.
Me neither.
I heard conquistadors were heroes.
Yeah.
Christopher Columbus was a hero.
It used to be Columbus Day, and now I see why they want to change it to Indigenous Peoples Day.
This is for the people of the sun. Rage Against the Machine.
There you go. Nice. That's right. Well, true, not true on our side of those major areas. Still bad. Yeah.
Well, but I mean, like we've had cousins, Mara and Yelly, that said Cancun, Mexico is just beautiful,
right?
Off the charts, beautiful.
And that's what some people do say, that you're safe on the resorts, whatever, but only the resorts. But again, I've heard people that say that they went and didn't spend any time
my uncle,
at the resort,
our Tio Chava, said he used to tell me all the time, go to Monterey.
Oh, that's what my boss was talking about today. She said it looks just like San Antonio. It's just as a beautiful city.
He was always on, and this was before the cartels really took over.
Yeah,
but he was always like, that is a beautiful fucking spot right there.
Yeah. I mean, it made me more inspired to want to see it. But I did love that he specifically said that, like, he was like, the language, the things they brought, like that's what they took or whatever. And then then he goes into like how, like, oh, my mom died. She wanted to be buried back there. He goes, and I was shocked.
And that was great. That was a great scene. Like,
yeah.
First off, I love how they smash, the vibranium or whatever.
Yes.
And they drink it and they all turn blue. And
yeah.
And then I love too that, they just go to the water. They're like, fuck this. And then, when he comes back, and he's able to breathe in and out. Yeah. Yeah. And he fucking burns.
And they're like, whose kid is this? Whose kid is this or whatever? And he sees his people in chains and he's like, and it makes me wonder. I mean, like, is this how African Americans felt maybe when they saw, like, maybe Black Panther 1, or maybe when they saw like Django? Because I love when Django like ends up fucking besting everyone. Like I get hyped for that. And even when I saw the first Black Panther, even though that's not our culture, I was like, oh, here is like we're part of the larger unrepresented people. The people that are getting their representation, you still feel some kind of way. But when it's your specific people, then it's even better. You know what I mean?
I think
what are you going to be training for, Joe? Are you going to be training to be the new Namor? Are you going to?
I think that's why the reason, and I never kind of knew it until this movie came out, but I think that's why I've always been attracted to the Zorro character so much.
Yeah,
so much
because he's
Mexican.
One of us. Yeah, he's Mexican. Yeah. I totally get that.
And I think that's why, like, I really love that story when you told me that Quentin had did the Zorro Django.
Yes.
That's actually supposed to be a sequel to Django. I was like, wow.
And if you want to hear that, we covered that.
And I just saw Mask of Zorro too on Netflix. I saw it on Netflix. I fucking watched that movie again. I love that movie.
It's a great movie. Although Antonio is not Mexican, he's
Spanish. Actually, he's Spaniard. Yeah. So he's the enemy in that movie.
And you can't blame him for.
But it was so cool to finally have like someone like a Latino character, an Antonio Banderas to be Zorro.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So,
I agree.
Because before it was like Douglas Fairbanks. It was Tyrone Powell. It was Frank Langella, so it's kind of like, this was actually the first time that it was like an actual Latino was playing Zorro.
That's badass.
It sounds great. It sounds cool.
And has a look that you're like, how you would imagine he's supposed to look. Like he's kind of supposed to look like that.
Mask of Zorro is a badass movie.
The dark hair, the dark eyes. I mean, like,
the
that's
Mask
how
of
our
Zorro
people
is
look.
a badass movie.
Yes, love that one. Yeah, M from Murieta. I always remember
remember
that being badass.
The M when he carves it on it.
And how shitty those fucking guys were that you hated them or whatever. I was like, I hated that fucking captain. I hated those fucking guys, man. You know who I love? I hadn't said it. Guillermo del Toro. There's a great Mexican director right there. And that guy, let that guy fucking direct if Ryan Coogler's not available. Joe, that's amazing, man. About going to Guanajuato to help train, bro. That's great. What have you heard about safety precautions there? Is it good, not good, whatever? Let us know.
So we're really like being prideful right now.
Yeah, I know. We're on a huge tangent.
I know this is supposed to be Black Panther.
People are like, how long was this fucking movie?
But it shows you that how great of a job that he does as Namor. Like,
we're almost at the length of the movie.
We're just like so fucking thrilled about it.
Yes, absolutely. And again, we did not know that feeling until now.
I get it.
That's both of us.
And I could have told you before, I really don't give a fuck if they ever do. But after seeing this, I was like, wow, this is.
It does mean something. It does mean something, like I said.
So he gives a history. He burns down that place, because they want to kill him, and he buries his mom there where she wanted to be buried, and he's showing her all of the place, all of Talokan, and she's loving it. But then, he kind of puts her in a position, be our ally.
Yeah, he's like
kill this scientist.
Yeah, he's like, I'll let you have the scientist. He's like, but join me or whatever.
Wakanda and Talokan together, there'd be nobody stop us.
Yeah, and he's like, I want to take. He doesn't say take over, but like take war to the surface world, pretty much. And she's like, what? Like, you want to wage war on the surface? He's like, yeah. He's like, what have they done for us? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that he's like, they want what you have too. He said what he says is perfect. He's like, given the chance that to pillage you, any country would come if they knew you were weak. Mm-hmm. He's like, they wouldn't hesitate. And I was like, right there, I was like, oh, he's not wrong about that.
He's not.
He's 100%.
We've seen it happen.
He's 100% right. If they knew that they were really weak, which essentially is what's happening at the beginning of the movie, they're trying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But luckily they have the Dora Milaje. They have good tech. They have Shuri. But it's like, without that, they knew they didn't have a Black Panther, and they took that chance to try to invade, to try to take their shit from their outposts. And again, he's not wrong. I'm like,
he's not wrong, and I really agreed with him.
But she's like, that's insane. Which
I know,
like,
and that's, but but it's cool because that's kind of like T'Challa will probably have said the same thing.
Yeah, like I'm not going to go to war with everyone.
No, he wouldn't have. He would have tried to make his whole goal at the end of Black Panther was to kind of share everything so that maybe everyone can still be on the same page. You
know what I loved really a scene that I really love in that first one, AA, to kind of talk about a little bit again in the great Chadwick Boseman, is when he gets after his dad in the ancestral plane, and he's like, why did you leave him? Like, he's pissed off because he's like, this is fucking your fault in a sense. He's like, and now I'm dealing with it, and it's a big looming problem in Wakanda in this movie that Killmonger ascended the throne, beat T'Challa, and by their rules got to rule. And that's another thing Queen Ramonda says to Okoye. She's like, you stood by him when I had to run off to go be with M'Baku.
That was the thing too.
And I was like, I was like
she told not just her, but she told everybody. You all stood by him.
Yeah. And then they're like, we're kind of fucked because he burned that herb and there's no more herb. Like, that's the herb that gave us like power or whatever. So it's like they're left to defend Wakanda without the Black Panther, without a Black Panther, and just the other things they have, the Dora Milaje, their tech and stuff, which is very great, and their vibranium, which is very great. But it's like we're at a disadvantage. Where we there's a chink in our armor now. You know what I mean? And that's not good. So Shuri, being the diplomat and the person she is like, no, we can't do that. We can't wage war or whatever. And then he's like, I'll have to kill the scientist then. Like, he's like, he's like not flinching. He's like, not. No, he's very not. Like, okay. So
because before that he didn't care, but now there's something that can take vibranium. Now there's a reason for them to go down. Right now, there's a reason for them to fuck with it.
And he's pretty much saying, I'm not gonna let anything happen to my people. Nope. So if they even think, if they're imagining or entertaining the idea they're gonna come here and fuck with us, they got another thing coming. Seriously. And he's very, very convincing in that manner that he's going to do what he says.
And that's what's really good. That's what I had always loved about the Chris Claremont Magneto Xavier comics. He would write them so good where you felt like, man, Xavier's fucking right. I'm going to fight for Xavier. But then when he's writing Magneto, you're like, oh, fuck. Magneto has a really good point, too.
That's why I've always loved Magneto. That's why
I've always said Chris Claremont, hands down, the best fucking comic writer, because he can take those two characters and he can make you like both of them. And that's what Ryan Coogler is doing with Namor. You fucking feel like shit. This guy is not wrong.
Joe, Chuck was like, "This motherfucker spitting." Yeah, I was. I was like, "Oh shit."
This guy is not wrong in what
Yeah.
he's telling Shuri.
And I gotta say, Double A, that's how I felt in the Black Panther movie when Killmonger.
Well, Killmonger, yeah.
I was
I
like,
know you've always been a big
I was like,
Killmonger.
"Ooh,"
Yeah.
and Killmonger is kind of right. Where it was
Uh-huh.
like, man, fuck all them, man. Like they've been fucking us over for all this time or whatever. It's like, again, it's a dark path to be that's a dark path to be on. You know what I mean? But I was kind of like, well, he's not really wrong. It was a very Magneto-esque feeling I had with Killmonger, a character that I had no affiliation or knowledge of. But I was just like, yo, I kind of dig this guy's vibe and what he's saying or whatever, So that was an interesting aspect for me in that. And again, I've always been a Magneto sympathist, where it's like, I'm like, well, you just keep,
But like
you keep
I said,
pushing the wrong guy. Like
they wrote it so good where it's like, I can see why Cyclops, Wolverine, Storm want to fight for this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, well, fuck. But Magneto's really right too.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's seen the worst of humanity,
mm-hmm.
and he knows how bad it can get.
And he'll tell you, he'll be like, what happens when it's your fucking lover or wife or husband or kid that's dead? What are you going to do? You're going to do what I do. And I'm like, yeah, I am going to do what you do when it happens to me. So he's not wrong,
That's what's really good about this movie is that, man, you're just like, fuck, Namor is really like, the way he fucking plays Namor is like, fuck, like you're rooting for this guy. You want to see more of this guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, damn.
What's our next beat, Double A? I think
Okoye rescues her.
No, Nakia.
Nakia rescues them.
Because he pretty much takes Shuri back. Oh, he tells her about the bracelet. He's like, this is my mother's bracelet. Yeah. It's made with the threads from the herb or whatever. Yes. And she rescued it.
She does the attack. She fires on the Talokans.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna
the Talokan. Yeah.
One of them dies. Namor takes that really bad. Because remember, he said,
and Shuri's trying to save her.
If there's any Wakanda that comes, if there's any ship from Wakanda that comes, we are going to attack.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going to go with my army to Wakanda. He goes, your country will fall first. He's like, I'm going to wage war on the surface, but you're going to be first. So that's pretty fucking like, damn, that's out there. And when this happens, Shuri's scared, so she's trying to save the gal, but
they're like, we need to go. The kid's like, we need to go to now.
So they get away.
They go.
The ship
they arrive to Wakanda. They start kind of. She gives a briefing about what Namor said.
Queen Ramonda's super happy to see, she's alive, Shuri's alive, and all that, and Nakia's there, going to hang out with them.
They talk and they start kind of like,
and in the meantime, this is where we get our images of. Oh, go ahead. Was that it for that part?
No, yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah. Well, back in Talokan, like after that happens, the death, it's like this is where we see the great imagery from the trailers, and we see just trailers. You see that parts where Namor is descending in the water with the giant headdress on or whatever. He sits in that throne that's in the mouth of a shark or whatever.
Yeah, supposedly that's a megalodon.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
And he pretty much tells him, I was blinded by hoping for an alliance or whatever. He's like, I'll never let that happen again. He's like, he tells Shuri, you're the first service person to ever come to Talokan. So it's like, well, now another person has come. And they're like, so he's not going to let himself look weak in front of his people. Yep. And he's also going to not let that act of aggression go. Nope. So he's like, so here's what we're going to do.
Which I love that they kept Namor still Namor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he's like, fuck this. They fucking attacked us. We're going to go now.
Right. And so this is where you get the great scenes of where he's, where our title comes from, LIIK'IK Talokan. And he's yelling it at them and they're yelling it back at him. Which is and he starts out when he first sits in the throne, he does their symbol, and he does it kind of two different ways, right? He does it at first kind of like far apart, but then later on it gets more kind of close. I heard a lot of people online were saying the Kamehameha, which I thought of Hadoken. I was like, Hadoken,
too,
But they actually, I saw a picture and it says that if you look at the drawing that
he which I saw, I was kind of like wow, okay, cool.
So, and I don't know if that comes from a real thing, but I would imagine.
I don't know either. Yeah, I really don't know.
But very cool. So Wakandans, obviously Wakanda forever.
Yeah, because I saw an interview too, like with the actor who plays the Tuma and Namora. And they're like, we need something too. Like Wakanda has this badass like fucking saying and the symbol is like we need something too.
And so they said that wasn't in the script. So that's where they talked with the linguist that was on hand, and that's where they got the Rise Talokan, which is LIIK'IK Talokan. And when he's delivering it right in that scene, double A, you're like, I had shivers, man. Both times I saw it, I had shivers. I was like, because he's there and he's like fucking, he's like, I'm not gonna let us get that happened to us. So you're like, fuck, now you're gonna get the wrath of Namor, and then with the regal ass headdress.
They show Wakanda, they show Wakanda, and they're trying to be on alert, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't do it, right? And they come in. Yeah, without any detection, they come in.
Oh yeah, and they start to fuck shit up in Wakanda, which you're like, this is Wakanda. This is what we've been told. All of our Marvel experience is the most badass place. I'm like, what the fuck? And they are fucking things up. Joe says, Chuck embraces the dark side. Jeremy says, love this convo, but I'm gonna go. I want to see it in action and try it. Forget what my friend told me. Okay, do it, Jeremy. Do it. Imperious Rex. And it was like Wakanda Emo Bay.
That
Imbabe. Imbabe. Yeah, exactly, Joe. Yeah, it was like that. Yeah, the LIIK'IK Talokan. And how he's saying it too, and you're like, oh shit, like his delivery is like very stirring. But go ahead, double A. Tell them about that.
They go and they start attacking and they start fucking up Wakanda real bad. Like CM said, this place that was supposed to be kind of like the most advanced place, that no matter what kind of weapons you had, Wakanda was always a step above you in the weaponry. If you had guns, they had cannons. It was just always this place that you just can never break, you can never defeat, you can never conquer. They come in and they just beat the shit out of Wakanda bad. They destroy Wakanda, the cities. People are evacuating. It's just a mess. They're throwing the water grenades, that kind of just burst out. These grenades that burst out like big impacts of water. I mean, it's just it's crazy. There's no one really to protect them. There's not a Black Panther to kind of go out there and save everybody. It's just Namor going full on, attack on Wakanda. They didn't detect them. They didn't see them coming. They just come and they devastate everything. I'm gonna wait till CM comes because I know he's gonna want to talk about the most important parts, but it's a great scene. They try coming in the jets. The Wakandas Namor is just destroying them with his spear. He just comes and he just destroys them. Shuri tries to do everything she can to hold them back with their technology. Queen Ramonda is trying to make sure everybody's safe. It's one of those attacks that you just never thought was going to happen ever in Wakanda. Not even Thanos' army really even devastated Wakanda the way they did. It shows you the power that Namor has, that you're just like, wow, like this guy just almost single-handedly destroys Wakanda, floods Wakanda. It's a massacre that happens. All the warriors, they come and it's just almost, it's a one-sided battle. They're just more prepared. They're just more battle hardened. It's just, I don't know, the Wakanda's kind of got complacent and how they are, knowing that they can always defeat an army of the world. They didn't really prepare for it. It's kind of like superhuman kind of group that is backed up with the vibranium. It's insane. It's a really cool scene though. I was just saying how devastating they were.
Yes.
In the Wakanda, how they just come, and just wreck shit up,
Yeah.
And not even, in Infinity War did you see Wakanda get this fucked up?
No. Yeah. And did you see?
Because it actually holds back Thanos' army for a good while. But with with them coming under from the oceans and just devastating, they're just like,
even using that siren method we saw earlier. What did you think, Double A, about how he moved? I love how he moved in the air. It's like zigzagging and kind of the one leg. Like I was like, it looked very natural and how you would move with that type.
Yeah.
And then when he shows up in front of the throne room, right? I mean, did you talk about that part?
No, not yet, because I wanted to say that until you got back.
Okay. Go ahead to pick up where you were.
So after doing all that, after Namor is pretty much single-handedly destroying their air force, we see the scene with him and Queen Ramonda, and he kind of tells her
real quick before we get there. Did we talk about M'Baku when he's like, "Oh, the fish man"?
No, we haven't seen him.
M'Baku thinking he gonna go up against the fish man and just
not knowing how much power this dude has,
and that big thing he carries is a club. It's like a giant shillelagh, like a big club. He fucking goes and swings that, and he's a big guy, right? And that great scene where Namor just like puts his arm up, and then just the thing just smashes into pieces, and then he proceeds to punch. I thought he killed him. I thought they were gonna kill him off. I was like, oh shit, he just fucking killed him, because he punches him in the chest, and he goes flying. And luckily, he's got that wood gorilla armor, but it is just shattered. Man. He and I don't know. I think he was holding back. I think too. He just gave him a taste, and he fucked up M'Baku pretty bad. I mean, he's alive, obviously. And
he doesn't get up the whole rest of the scene. He doesn't get up.
Yeah. But then I think after that, right then you have, like we said, he flies to the throne room. Riri's there. Riri Williams is there.
Yeah, he gives her one more kind of chance.
Yeah.
She doesn't.
She's like, no. Okay. And again, to me, I'm like, your place is under siege. All your people. Like I kind of think about Spock sometimes. They're like, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the. I'm like, this is one girl's life, and I'm not saying that they should have sacrificed her or whatever, but I'm just like, shit, you know what I mean? Like, your daughter is here. Like,
this was the part that I was kind of thinking. Is this the part where people turn on Namor?
Yes,
because of what he does here.
Yes, this is the part that makes him a bad guy, I think. Yeah,
this is almost kind of like Godfather, where Turk almost tries to kill Vito because he knows Sonny's like really interested in the drug deal.
Mm-hmm.
So he's kind of like, okay, he's dead, but now Sonny's in charge. This was kind of like the thing too, like, okay, Queen Ramonda is dead, but now you're the queen now, Shuri.
Yeah, I love when he said that. You're the queen now. So I'm like, now in a sense, do what's right. You've already seen.
He drowns Queen Ramonda. She does everything she can to save, what's her name?
Riri.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
and she does save her. She does save her,
but she dies. She drowns.
Now I think when we say he drowns her, and even Shuri says there, she's like, he drowned my mother. It's not like he held her underwater by the throat.
No, but
he floods the throne room.
Yeah.
He takes all them bombs, the water bombs that Joe mentioned earlier, and floods that throne room or whatever. He swam in the air. Yeah, exactly. That's great. Way to put it. But he moved in the air. So I don't think he was necessarily meaning to kill her, but she died.
I think he was.
Well, maybe he meant to kill them both. He already had been saying he was going to kill Riri. Like,
I think he wanted both, but it's kind of like, he kind of felt like probably Shuri was more kind of like with him.
Yeah.
So.
But Double A, if you wanted to kill the scientist or whatever, I mean, like you wanted to kill Riri, or you wanted to kill the queen, you could just fly in and snap their fucking necks or spear them both with a spear. He did this as like a show of like, look, I'm gonna do it this way or whatever, and like, because he even tells me, he's like, mourn your dead, gather up, bury them. He's like, and then I'm gonna be back. I think he says, right?
Yep.
He's like, with my full army. Yep. So you're like, that wasn't the full army. That was like, I'm thinking maybe like Atuma and
like pretty much like almost like
his elites. He's got some elites. Maybe his what do they call it in Star Wars? The Black Squadron. Yeah, like that's like his Black Squadron, whatever. Yeah. There might be just more army like elsewhere. Because I mean, the guy I told you guys I was arguing about earlier with the thing, not arguing, but we were like, he was saying Aquaman will win. He was like, oh, he controls all the sea, like all of Atlantis is like the whole sea. And I was like, did they ever say that Atlantis is the entire sea?
Well, they're assuming that he controls everything.
Yeah, and we're also left to believe that Talokan might be the capital city, but it doesn't mean that there's not people all out, because they've been having sex and making babies for like the 1500s.
But they've always said like in the comics it was just Atlantis, right?
Like one city underwater.
One city I was
but
underwater.
Is it a massive city?
It was a massive city, but I mean it was enough where there was nobody else there. You know what I mean? Like it was just
like it was another country.
No
underwater.
It was like no North America, North South America, no nothing like that. You know what I mean? They were their own. And Namor can control everything.
Okay.
He can control the animals. He could, if he wanted to, he could flood North America if he wanted to. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it was only them. that small batch, but it's only them. You know what I mean?
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah,
So
there
you
was
feel like
never
this
there
is
was never ever in the
like the
comics
whole
where it was like
ocean.
there's another race over here and another race over here. It's
Okay.
always just them.
Do we get that impression with Aquaman? Like he has the whole, because
Yes.
he runs the whole
Yes.
ocean. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds
Yeah.
very DC, right? They're never like, I just want the whole thing.
Which I mean, again, they could have got
Alright.
they could have really got from here too, honestly.
Yeah. So that's another great Tenoch Huerta scene.
Which
where
I was
he's
really upset
great
though
delivery.
when Angela Bassett dies.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man,
Yeah.
this one she's finally coming to her own. I was
Right.
like, son of a bitch.
And
you know?
one of her like best
Like,
performances.
man,
Or
just
no.
powerhouse.
I mean, just her. It is her best performance in the Marvel U. Like
in the Marvel U, yes, just
No doubt,
powerhouse
excuse me.
performance.
yeah, she's fantastic.
Very
And-
forceful, very leader. I mean,
Yeah.
just everything. Just damn, you know.
And obviously Shuri has not been very good,
Ah,
throughout
no.
in her mental state. This just drives her further.
Yeah,
We see her again at her second funeral in this one movie, with her funeral gear on and just like really not coping. You know what I mean? Like she's not coping or whatever.
no, but she figures out how to maybe try to recreate the herb
Mm-hmm.
with the bracelet that Namor gave her,
Yep.
and
Use his
after
own
much trial and
invention.
error, it actually works.
Mhm. And she even says my brother's DNA too. So like a combination
Yeah.
of several things. She recreates the heart-shaped herb, which
She
gives
drinks
the Black
it.
Panther power. Yeah. And Nakia says like you got to go like to the ancestral plane.
Ancestral plane. Yeah,
She goes and she's hoping to see her mother or
yeah,
her brother.
or T'Challa. Yeah,
And instead, Double A, who does she see?
man, which I was surprised because I had not known
Me neither. I
he
didn't know
was
either.
supposed to make an appearance.
Yeah.
Like, I had not read anything.
Yeah.
She meets Killmonger, and it's not in the jungle like everywhere else you have seen. It's in the fucking palace.
The throne room where her
and
mom
he's already
died.
white, you know.
Mhm. And he's like, "No, you got me for a reason or whatever." And she's like, "No, I don't understand. I would never see you like I'm at the."
To seek revenge because her mind.
And
her
he's
mind,
like,
you
he's
know?
like you. And I love what he says. He's like, "What does he say about the mom?" He's like, "Your mom was to this.
She was. Fuck.
Your
The
mom
dad was a hypocrite.
Yeah." And he's like, he killed his own brother. He's like, your brother
I
was too
forgot what he
noble.
said. Yeah, which I thought was perfect. I thought
Yeah,
it was perfect.
beautiful. Like they weren't going to
Yeah.
speak ill of him, which was
No.
beautiful.
And he's right though. T'Challa is noble.
Very
He's
much so.
absolutely right
Yeah.
about that. That was spot on. I forgot what he says about Queen Ramonda.
But then he says, "Well, now what are you going to be?
Yeah.
Are you going to be this? Or are you going to be like me?" And like, and then the throne room catches on fire
it starts burning
because she's
Yeah.
filled with rage. You know what I mean? She just wants revenge. Like at that point, it's all about revenge.
Yeah,
So
I mean, she lost her whole family.
yeah,
Like a span of years, you know, she lost her family.
and that's what Killmonger was too. He was filled with rage. He was
Yeah.
filled with anger, and he was like, "I'm going to do these things." And although I may have good points, it really is fueled by negative, feelings.
Oh yeah, because
and-
remember,
and
like
rage.
you said, she was not a believer of the gods,
Mhm.
of their ancestral gods. She was not a believer in that. Remember,
Mm-mm.
she didn't think anything of it. She was all about technology,
Yeah.
and maybe that's why she saw Killmonger instead of the other ones.
Yeah. And Nakia asks her, "Who did you see?" Because it's very important in their
And
culture.
she
like,
never
who did you
mentions
see?
it. She never says it.
Yeah, she doesn't say it till like much later, I think.
I don't even think she says it. I don't think she ever.
No, I
says
think
it.
she tells her. Yeah, she does tell her later on.
Killmonger.
She says she's like, "I saw Killmonger" or whatever, and she's
I
like,
don't remember that at all.
Yeah, it's more later on when she's like, "I need you to finally tell me, like, what did you see or whatever," before they're getting ready to
Huh,
go
okay.
into the last battle. But let's see.
She comes back and she's kind of like pissed because she's like, I didn't see my brother, I didn't get any power, and then she like punches like one of her machines out of the way, and they're like, oh shit.
Yeah, like you do have the power.
Yeah.
And Nakia's like, "I think you're gonna need a suit." So we get this interesting, and she kind of chooses a suit that's similar to Killmonger with the
yeah.
gold accents on it. And I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, that's interesting." She had other choices, but she chose that
Yeah.
one. And then we get that great scene because M'Baku, the people have
So they all move to where in Baku
they evacuate
kind of, like,
Wakanda,
lives.
the
Yeah.
main part, because they're like, he's gonna come back.
Yeah.
We're not gonna give up the scientist, and well, we're kind of fucking ourselves. So
And now in Baku kind of he knows Namar's power.
Mhm.
And so he's kind of like a little worried now. You know,
This is where he says a different tune, because earlier he's like, "Oh, let's go after him, let's kill him, or whatever, the fish man or whatever." And now he's got a whole different tune. This is that great scene where he's like, his people don't call him
they don't
general.
call him general.
They don't call him king. He said they call him a kukulkan. He's like, which means
they're calling him God,
serpent, winged serpent god. Yeah, he's like
pretty much like a god. Like they're
Right.
gonna follow this god
right.
into battle, and if we die, we're dying for this god. you
Yeah.
know.
And this is where they have drop out of that great airdrop scene where Shuri drops in and she's in the Black
Yeah.
Panther suit, and we understand now that there is a new Black Panther, and it is Shuri with these gold axes. Now, Double A, did you have this thought? Because I had this thought. I thought she was going to share some of the heart shaped
I thought so too. I
would have liked Nakia to get a suit.
I would've-
M'Baku, they would have been
Actually, I thought they were going to give it to Nakia, which I would have been more happy with
and
than
it's
Shuri.
very cool.
I thought she would have been a way better Black Panther.
It would have
than
made more
Shuri.
sense.
It would have made
fighting-wise,
more
right?
sense.
And M'Baku would have made sense too. He's
M'Baku
been there
would
since
have
the
been
beginning.
a better
He almost
Black
beat
Panther.
T'Challa. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, you know, but or because these guys are so powerful, share it around. I mean, like,
And
you
I
know,
thought
it's
so
like, get a little
too.
bit of
I was like,
something,
cool, we'll have an army of Black Panthers.
Yeah, or at least 3 or 4 of those main people, like, you know, like
Yeah.
Okoye, Shuri, her, and you know.
I didn't think Shuri should have even taken it. It should have been what's Lupita's name?
Nakia.
Nakia.
Mhm.
I think they should have really
Yeah.
made her the Black Panther. But,
Yeah,
and I was kind of hoping that I was like, oh, cool, they're gonna change it right now, and nope, they didn't. So I was
Right.
kind of like, oh
Right.
fuck.
and like Joe said, I think we needed Queen Ramonda's death to push Shuri to.
I
become
know,
the
but
too.
I was like, there's no good reason for her to be a Black Panther.
other than that, she's part of the family.
Just a part of
royal
the family. That's it.
And again, here another thing. These few scenes kind of start a trend that me and Double A identify too. Is that they're still calling her Princess Shuri. They're not calling her Queen yet, even though the Queen is dead. It's like, okay, it's like, you know, she's not calling herself Queen or whatever. She's not. You know, there's like, okay, what's going on? But again, her main focus right now is like, look, this is what we got to do to go get Namor now.
Namor.
And there's that great scene that she does have with M'Baku, where she's like, "Can you clear the room?" They leave. It's just her and M'Baku, and she's like, "No, you're gonna help me or whatever." He's like, "You don't think my mother's death was worth it?" And I didn't like this part from him, because I would have said, "No one death is greater than the whole of Wakanda." That's what I would have said. I'd have been like, "Yes, your mother was a queen and she was powerful, but she wouldn't want her nation to be at war or whatever, or be, you know, this guy could come back and just wipe us all out." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But again, he agrees and decides to help her, you know, in a sense, feel her rage and feel
But
her
this is the thing, though, where I was like, this was kind of stupid because her planet's stupid.
Yeah.
She wants Wakanda to go out to the sea.
Yes.
Which I'm like, that doesn't make sense.
Because that's what he says. He's like, I don't want to fight. We can't let them fight here again. Like, look what they did.
But, I mean, really? To the sea? I was like, wow.
Yeah.
That was even worse.
Yeah. And then they do spend some time on creating a
This
plan,
was,
though.
like,
how to
seriously,
link it in.
this was a stupid plan. And after it marinated in my head, I was kind of like, see, this is why she shouldn't be leader, because she sacrificed so many to capture one.
Well, doing what I said, it's like your revenge. She's blinded by that.
Exactly.
You're not
It
doing
was
the needs of the
stupid
men, but the needs of the future.
That she was the leader of this whole operation.
You're doing my selfishness. Yeah, and
It
there
showed
should have been-
exactly what an inexperienced person would do. You
Right.
sacrifice so many just in hopes that you can capture this one guy.
How many times have we seen leaders in movies,
Bad.
Double A, where they're like, we're sorry. Where they let the one person go, they're like, what? Don't let me die. Don't let me die. They're like, hey, you got to go. Like,
Yeah.
you know, shit. It's in fucking Star Wars, like in Rogue One, where they're like, here, get the thing, or whatever. They pass the
Yeah.
Death Star.
Yeah.
And those guys are just trapped in there. They're
Yeah.
like, you're fucked. Y'all are fucked. This
Yeah.
is for the greater need.
Yeah.
Like billions of lives are at stake
Yeah.
or whatever. I'm surprised that Nakia and Baku didn't try harder to be like, no, this is not a
You
great
know,
plan.
and Baku should have been like, no, this is stupid. We're fighting them where they're the strongest.
Or I would have said, share the heart-shaped herb with
Yeah.
us, so that way, or a few of us, we
Most
could
of
be like,
Wakanda's army dies
mhm.
just in this whole, plan of maybe we capture Namor.
Yeah,
They're at the edge. It's only a small group.
Yeah.
They're gonna kill him. They're like most of Wakanda was gonna die right there.
they're lucky that they have the Dora Milaje, who I think really helped them out a lot or whatever. Because we see the return of Ao, who we talked about earlier from Winter Soldier. Ao is there,
Yeah.
and then that other member, I forget her name. Double A. Oh shit, let's look it up because I thought it was interesting that they showed them having a
But still,
relationship.
it was just a it was a stupid plan.
Yeah,
and
not the best plan.
And it fits that it would be someone like her who was all about technology that was not trained for any of this. You know, that was not trained for fucking war, was not trained for leadership, you know, any of that.
Anika, we talked about her. We didn't talk about her that much earlier, but Anika is like, she has these like spears,
Yes.
shuri.
Yes.
These are like daggers.
Daggers.
And then, you know, Okoye tells her about this tradition of the spear. And then later on, we see her. She didn't leave Wakanda. She's like, I'm going to stay here. She's cleaning up her flooded ass home.
Yeah. But she's no longer any part of the military. Nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
I mean, obviously, and this is where I kind of got pissed. Her and Namor go one-on-one. All of a sudden, she knows how to fight, which I was kind of like, wow, okay. You know, you would think a scientist being in the science lab would just be doing that, not going one-on-one with someone who's had centuries of battle experience.
Yeah.
You know, and
yes.
And
I'm going to come back to those comments, Joe. Good comments.
And look, we've read, obviously, when he's out of water, he loses strength, but it's gradually.
Right.
It doesn't happen like Superman with kryptonite. You know, when kryptonite is brought in, Superman goes straight to his knees.
Yeah, it's like instant.
With Namor, it takes hours for his power
to start dropping. Do other shit with kryptonite. I've seen him literally pull a shard out of his chest and then,
I know,
like,
but you see, whenever you see movies like in the Superman movie, as soon as kryptonite comes, he's like, "Oh, that's it." He goes straight to being a weak human. Like, boom, like you can beat the shit out of Superman,
right?
And it was kind of like that with here. It's kind of like, you know, he's only been out of the water for like 10 minutes. And already he's that weak. Like, he's never, like, it takes him a long fucking time for his power to start dropping.
Yeah,
like, long
and they have this theory. We didn't really talk about it. They have this theory, like, let's dry him out a little bit. So she creates this chamber within one of the ships.
Which I guess it's just like heaters. So I was like,
it just looked like heaters. And then, like, he's kind of still wrecking the ship because he's fucking using the spear and shit. He's like wrecking it up. And because he's still really fucking strong. And earlier, even Riri says, even weakened, he's going to be formidable.
Yeah.
So she tells the ship, take me to the desert. So I'm like, oh, they're going to go way out. Like, where when he crashes the ship, they're not that far from the water. I'm like, he's not fucking far enough from the water. Like, you know.
Like, they make it, like, where he goes straight to, like, being just like a broken down, you know, fighter. I'm like, wow.
Yeah. And again, too, like, this other guy told me, too, he was like, oh, like, the centuries of fighting, he should have been stronger. And I was like, well, really, when you're dominant, you're not fighting all the time. Like, he hasn't been fighting for these 500 years.
But I mean, like, her too, all of a sudden she knows how.
I agree. But he also hasn't been fighting against enemies with vibranium suits and heart-shaped herb in them or whatever. The same way that I felt about with the Jedis. I was like, people are like, oh man, the Jedi sucked or whatever. And I was like, they haven't been in war for a long time. Like, they haven't been using like the skills like they use all the time. Jedi, like fucking, I mean, yeah, you should be training, but you're not lightsabering against trained Sith all the time. So when it looks like Qui-Gon's overwhelmed and all that, it's like, well, this is the first time I face this shit like in a long time. You know what I mean? Like a formidable opponent with the Force. It's like, you know, so I'm like, yes, they're centuries and thousands of years old, but they're not fighting all that time. It's like, you know, it's not like when we talk about what's his name's army in Rome or whatever. Well, it's Caesar's army, right?
Caesar.
It's like they had been being in battle.
Yes.
So for them to go right back into battle, like what's his name with the P?
Pompey.
Yes. It's like they're no match.
Yeah.
What are those guys been just sitting around their fat asses? These guys have been fucking following instructions, doing war, battling with people.
They were battle hardened.
That is battle hardened. I'm like, you're not battle hardened if you haven't been fighting with it for a long time. You know what I mean?
Shuri all of a sudden knowing how to fight.
Agree.
That just didn't make sense.
Agree.
Like, it made sense for T'Challa.
Her most recent combat was whatever combat she experienced when she was at Infinite,
which was using technology.
Yeah, shooting the blasters and those kind of like willy-nilly monsters that Thanos had or whatever, you know. So, go ahead, Dylan.
No, but I mean, I understand it's under the Black Panther movie. This was the only time I really thought it was kind of stupid.
I do feel there's a redeeming line at the end.
There is.
But I liked it. I
was like, her whole plan just sucked, though. I mean, they almost all died. They were gonna die.
Yeah, and it looked like the people of Talokan were driving
they're on the fucking ship. There's more of them coming.
And they're driving them. They're at the edge.
Yeah.
All the Wakandans are there.
Yeah, no, they're gonna die.
This was my thought during that fight. As I was like, she's here engaged in this battle. She doesn't give a fuck about her people right now. I'm like, maybe you're not a bad
leader.
You're not a good queen.
And they kind of show later on, you know, her decision when it happens, which I was like, okay, good.
Yeah.
They're not going to do this stupid shit anymore.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, she gets Namor to agree.
He's defeated, and
he's defeated. He's going to call off his forces.
But she does decide not to kill because she thinks she wants to kill him, but she starts to think about her brother. Is her brother? Yeah, she starts to think about T'Challa and what he would do, and her mom and what they would do. And she's like, okay, look, let's call my. Because at that point, even if she had killed him, she could have come back and helped. But I think that they would have got overrun still. Yeah, you know. But they come to that agreement. You know, he gets to the water. They arrive together side by side, which I did like. Them side by
which
side.
he calls it off. He's like, all right, you know, stop fighting.
He's like, let's return to the water.
We're going home.
So, and Riri lives or whatever, and they show what happens next. They show them kind of in the. Is this before the lab? I don't remember where we go to Talokan first, or we go to the lab first, and she has that talk with Riri about the car.
We go to Namor first.
Okay, so this is a cool scene.
Namora is like really pissed off at him,
and
which I thought was going to be a Tuma. I thought this was going to be. I thought they're going to show a Tuma being pissed off and kind of showing him where he gets like, he's like fuck Namor, you know, but they didn't do it. So I was like, okay. He's
completely healed, by the way. He's in his regal gear. He's doing his painting again.
In the water, I mean, they're all just back.
Back even when they flew over, he looked golden. I was like, oh, once he got some water, he was like fucking fantastic.
He's fine.
You know what I mean? So, and again, Earth is 70% water, so to get him really away from water, it's kind of like, is he really ever away? I think they need to show it the way you said, Double A, where it's like, no, it's a gradual decline.
Yes,
and this is what I really like. So go ahead, Double A. What does Namor tell him more or less?
She's like, why do we give up? We could have killed him. You know, blah blah blah. He's like, look, we're partnering with Wakanda. Now Wakanda thinks we're its ally. So when they get attacked, they're going to call on us, and we're still going to have our war. With the surface world, you know, and you know, if it comes to be, we know we can defeat Wakanda too.
And he pretty much tells her too. He's like, they're going to see them as weak now. Like now they are weak, you know, without Queen Ramonda, and seeing that they came under attack, like it's possible. He's like, when the surface world comes for them, it'll be us. They're going to come calling. And I was like, oh,
and he's still going to have his war.
Yeah. So in my mind, I was like, oh, it was. He took an L, like I lost a battle, but I'm ultimately going to win the war. So I was like, okay, that's a little bit of strategy from them. That's what you do get from, you know, years of experience, in my opinion. So I was like, all right. He was like, all right, I'm taking this one right here, but you know, ultimately to gain a greater good. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was really cool. Like it showed him as smart, it showed him as cunning, it showed him as all the ways we know Namor to be. You know what I mean? So it was really cool. Then we cut back, and there's kind of a classic scene at the end. You know, her and Shuri and Riri say goodbye, and of course she had this really badass suit, which we know is going to be the Ironheart suit. She couldn't get to take it with her. She also, there's a car involved again.
To
go see
something.
it. Yeah.
Like it was her dad's car.
The things we didn't flesh out, guys, go see the movie. You'll get all that in that part. But yeah, there's a really cool part. Anything else, Double A?
Yeah. So Ross, Martin Freeman, he gets. You know, Julia Louis-Dreyfus,
who is Vanessa De Fontaine, or something?
It's like the Countess, some shit
Countess,
like that.
Countess.
The CIA director, she pretty much knows her ex-husband has been feeding Wakanda information, information. Yeah. They break him out.
Yes.
You know, so he's gonna go to Wakanda.
Mm-hmm.
In Baku, you know, they're doing, I guess, the challenge for the throne.
Yeah, which I
was kind of like good.
But I was like, who's he challenging though? Because
I don't know.
They already said that Shuri's not there.
Yeah, I guess whoever is going to be running up. So, which I was like, fine.
So it's kind of like a vacant title, and two guys are fighting for
again.
A vacant
I was
title.
like, fine. And Baku's going to be the one in charge. I like that better.
I like that.
After her seeing her dumbass, you know, run the show, you know, it was just stupid how she sacrificed so many of them, you know. So I was like, they'll have a Black Panther, but they'll have a leader. Yeah. You know, they'll have a king.
We also see earlier, too, we go back, we see Anika in her home with Ayo, who, again, we know we find out that they're a couple. That's what Joe's referencing right here. He says that they're a couple.
Yeah, which apparently has caused controversy.
You know, which is so stupid at this point. I'm like, are we still at this point at this day and age? That's absolutely dumb. There should be no...
Yeah, because, like, I found out the movie's banned, like, in certain places.
Two women are together. It's not a big deal to anyone like that. I mean, I guess if you're...
I'm sure they rent all those fucking lesbian porns, so...
Yeah. Just as my biggest gripe with the fight was at the end, I just not sure she would be able to beat him. Agree, especially after how they showed him.
And I agree. Me and CM talked about it too. Even if it was T'Challa, there's no way the Submariner and the Black Panther should even be on an even playing field.
Yeah,
that's just the power differential is like that.
But again,
But now I know the Marvel Universe, they've increased the power. Like Cap should never have been able to keep up with Spider-Man, but he does, and he beats him.
Right.
That should never have happened.
Double A is the heart-shaped herb a thing in the comics? Does the Black Panther have additional
It is
powers?
because that's how they're able to get just a little bit, but it's not overwhelming.
It's not like Super Soldier Serum.
No,
or it is.
It is in a way.
So they're like
him and Cap are like this, but but in the movies, obviously they've increased even Cap's powers.
Yeah,
even Cap's powers are really elevated. Like Cap shouldn't be at the level where he's at either. Where he can fight Iron Man, where he can fight, Spider-Man.
Right.
He shouldn't be at that level either.
Because they're supposed to be so more powerful in their equipment. Very interesting. Joe says, I really didn't like that she could bug the beat. Yeah, the Julia Louis-Dreyfus character. Again,
like the fucking tech should have been like so more advanced.
Right.
There's no way that she should have been able.
I would imagine Shuri's tech could detect a bug and then
real bad.
Relay the bug to some pizza place or something.
Real bad.
That's very kind of like that was almost kind of like what we said at Black Adam, where I was like, fucking what's her name? Amanda Waller has a line to Superman. I'm like, how are you two together? That's a little thin.
That was like the one thing me and Shiv didn't like about that scene was kind of like, oh great, so he is working for Amanda Waller.
Right. I'm like, it's
kind of giving the whole reason why Batman doesn't like Superman.
Right.
Because
Superman's not a government shield.
He's not that's like Frank Miller shit right there. I was like, that's like the one thing I didn't like about the Frank Miller stuff. Was that he made Superman like a puppet for the United States government.
And also that he wrote that somehow Batman can make a suit that would beat Superman.
Well, it's because Oliver shoots a kryptonite arrow.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Then we get to the end.
So pretty much everything's kind of set up. Namor is kind of like still, he's like, you feel like he's won kind of like the greater war. Shuri's going to be the Black Panther. She's still going to continue that role. And Baku's probably going to be the king now of Wakanda. And now we go to Shuri kind of like taking a leave of Wakanda and visiting Nakia.
Haiti, who tells her earlier you always have a home there.
And so she kind of just needs to get away. She kind of does that kind of like ceremony that her mom does,
which is burning.
She's kind of trying to let go of everything. She's kind of trying to let go
to
of
really heal, because that's been her whole journey. It's like she hasn't healed, she hasn't mourned, she hasn't
done nothing.
Yeah, she's just in grief.
Yes. Yeah. Real bad.
She goes to mourn.
This is a great scene.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of like the end of the movie, and they show like a very great tribute of Chadwick Boseman as a Black Panther. You're just like, again, you're just like, fucking A. Like, man, this guy, the way he walks, the way he moves, the way he talks, it was like, fuck, this movie was like lacking that so bad. Lacking his fucking appearance so bad.
I have a little bit of notes.
Okay, go ahead.
Only because I had some thoughts about it after my second viewing.
Okay.
This is after my second viewing. The first time I loved it.
I'm glad you saw it a second time.
Yeah, it's all the scenes like that we've seen them before, like the scenes that Letitia Wright and Chadwick Boseman shared together. Where they dap up and then they kind of and then where they're joking, they're being brother and sister. All that's great. All that's the scenes from the movies we've seen. I could have used maybe a little, like, what about when they were kids, like them playing, getting new actors? What about other moments that they may have shared or whatever? Like maybe some still pictures. And also, I did not like that, and I wish that we would have got it, because there is some great voice stuff left from Chadwick Boseman that he did for like the what if stuff.
What ifs?
I would love to have heard his voice in this movie.
I really thought they were going to use CGI and show him like touching her or something, or
that would have been
telling her that she's don't worry about it, just do what you're doing.
Even his voice, but like a CGI Black Panther, or like someone else in the Black Panther suit, now you're the Black Panther. You know what I mean? Like, or continue to protect Wakanda forever. Wakanda forever.
Yes.
I was like, I would like one more.
I know.
I want to hear his voice in this movie, because man, watching those what if episodes is so powerful.
Yeah.
To hear him, and to see that character he is when he's the leader of the what is it, the Reavers or the Ravagers or whatever they're called.
Oh yeah.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love.
That's right.
Because remember, they were a whole different thing.
Yeah,
under
they
him
were.
and Star-Lord.
They were.
He had fucking Thanos on his team. That's how much Star-Lord sucks balls. I'm like, Star-Lord,
we've always said that.
That episode is so great because of him. I have the Funko Pop of him from that one, because I was like, I love. And everyone's like, the same character, right? Damon Hanusu, and he's like, who? But he's
Yeah.
like, oh, I know you. You're
Yeah.
T'Challa.
Yeah,
You're the Star-Lord.
yeah.
I'm like, that's exactly how it would be. Everything Double A's
Yeah.
been saying about how you feel about Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa is exactly what that would have. Everyone's
Yeah.
like, man, this guy's a fucking man. Like
Yeah.
that's pretty much it. And that was done when he was alive. But he did the voice work. It's like,
Yeah.
like that's exactly how it would be. That's exactly how you would feel around it. That's our greatest. So I just wanted to hear his voice.
But you know
showed
what?
some images.
This ending gave me Godfather 2 vibes, where it's just like Michael at the end. At the very end, it's just Michael.
Damn.
You know, and I was like, oh wow, that's actually a really good ending of just her like being there.
Yeah.
And kind of like accepting kind of like everything. It's
Yeah.
kind of like Godfather 2,
And
when it's just him on the bench.
She finally lets herself
Yeah.
cry.
Yeah.
And she burns the
Because
clothes.
even that Godfather 2,
it is really
remember,
beautiful.
Remember Godfather 2, he has that flashback too.
Mm-hmm.
It's a flashback right before they show Michael again.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I was like,
damn, Double A, that's really great.
but
dude.
then, you know,
Ryan
obviously,
Coogler, man. Ryan
obviously
Coogler.
the mid credits come in. And
Yes.
this is where we get the surprise.
Great mid-credit scene. And then Joe says here.
I don't know what you're talking about. He goes, Bat would take Namor. What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about.
That's can't swim, Joe. He said that's so stupid.
Oh,
right at the end.
Because you said you don't know how
Oh,
he was able to beat Superman with that suit. That's right.
I knew he was good.
That's right.
Force
That's
Panther
right.
goes. I love it. I love it. It's such a yes. The sun shining on her face. All that, and then the.
What did you think of that? Like,
Rihanna
not
song?
only that, you know,
Man.
him and Nakia did, you know,
Yeah.
have a relationship. They had a son together.
Yes.
You know, I was like,
I love-
oh wow.
So now you didn't probably get this, but I got it because it was my second time around. When you first see Nakia and the little kids come up to the queen, he's there.
Is he?
One of the
No, I
little
didn't see
boys
that.
is him. Yeah.
I didn't see it.
So, because remember later she goes, "Did my mother meet him?" She says that at the
Yeah,
end.
she goes, yeah.
She goes, "Yeah, he met." So you know he sees her there, or whatever. So basically, what it is
okay.
yeah. So for me, I was like, "Oh shit,
Okay.
he's there." I was like, "That's a
Okay.
little boy,"
Okay.
because his face burned in my head
Okay.
after the first one. But it's
Okay.
like, so we basically find out from Nakia that she didn't go because her and T'Challa had a relationship. They had a son, and he wanted them to live in Haiti. He wanted his son to live away from the pressure of the throne. That's why they didn't go to the funeral, all that. And Shuri is like fucking like beyond shocked, right? Like, what the fuck? Like, this is my brother's son? Like, you know what I mean?
His name is Toussaint.
Yeah, Toussaint. And she said, that's a very beautiful name. He says, your name is cool too, which is so cute. And he goes, but that's just my Haitian name.
Yeah.
He's like, my real name.
My real name is T'Challa.
T'Challa.
I was like, oh,
And you're like,
shit.
and you know what I thought? My first viewing W, I said, Ryan Coogler is the fucking man.
Yeah.
Because he is like, you know, remember there was like a little bit of scary time for Letitia Wright where people were like, oh, she might be out of the shit saying some crazy shit. And then she got hurt. She got hurt.
She did.
So people were like, yo, what the fuck is going to go on? And they were like, this chick might be out the movie. They might do her like fucking, what's her name from Mandalorian or whatever. And it was like,
Gina Carano.
She might be out. And it was like, I was like, in the end of this movie, the greatest thing that Ryan Coogler gave us was that T'Challa can be the Black Panther again.
Yep.
And I was like,
hell yeah.
I was like, damn, that I was like,
hell yeah.
The second time I knew it was coming. I didn't think I was gonna cry. The second time I cried. The second time,
yeah,
too.
you cried.
I was like, man, that shit is so moving.
Yeah, she cried a lot.
It's so beautiful.
And Amy, her fucking eyes started like the tears started.
Oh, I have no doubt.
No, she did.
Even my nephew doesn't get emotional. He was crying there. I said, did you cry a little bit at the end? He said, at the end when the little boy came
Amy
out.
cried bad.
Yeah,
and I think
was
because
like,
Amy having a son, you know, kind of knowing all that, you know, that, you know, there's going to be a son to carry on the name. They probably got her more. So,
and I think I don't know what it was for my nephew that made him feel that way too. Because again, I've seen him and stuff. We've watched emotional together, and he doesn't get that emotional. He got very emotional. I was like, oh man, I was like, that really. He wasn't sobbing, but he was like, I think he felt like,
Cal really got into fucking Black Panther.
Yeah, he did, man. It was really cool.
Sam sent me this great picture of it where he's like that
in front of the poster for the Wakanda Forever. And like I said, the whole week I've been doing him the Talokan sign, and he doesn't like it. He's like, but today he did it before I came because he was like, what are y'all going to talk about? And I said, every time I leave on Friday, he says, what are you going to talk about today? And I said, today we're going to talk about the Black Panther. And I was telling him, and then he was like, I did the sign to him, and he did it back to me, and I was like, "Oh, you're finally with me now," you know. So he knows, and it's good. But a beautiful scene. There was no second end credit scene.
No, but you know that was good. Even if there was no credits, I would have been happy the way it ended. Yeah, like you said, it just it was so Godfather.
To hear you say that is like
vibes.
Wow,
I was like, wow.
Man. Yeah. So we could go back up to
and Joe said he cried at the end too.
Oh yeah, I have no doubt. Where's the comment that Joe had here? He said, well, I didn't mind. Sure. Well, I didn't mind Shuri. I think especially with the mid-credit scene, we'll go back to a male Black Panther. This is what Joe was referencing earlier in the comment, and yeah, obviously that is clearly set up. And again, even at the very end, they don't say. They say that she's never called Queen. They never.
No,
the only one that called her Queen was
and
Namor.
I don't think she is.
Yeah,
I don't think she is because now in
Namor.
Baku,
Yeah,
it looks like it's gonna be King. So.
yeah, and I good for him. I mean, I hope that happens for him or whatever. So, let me see here.
Go all the way to the end.
All the way to the end.
Yeah.
Do we see
The third one? The third one. That one. Sunshine in our face at the end, and then go to that one. That one. I had the same question that Mom know, because man, that is kind of like wow, like didn't even tell Romana that they had a kid together, So
Joe's next comment here says,
no, we doing Namor sign.
That's for our people, right? Or like at one point he has it kind of more far apart, but I like it kind of like closer together. Like it's kind of neat. Like I was like, oh, that's pretty badass. Joe says, I was the solo man with you crying. Hey man, that's all good, bro. Hey, you know what? That's more reason to go alone, right?
You should have been with us, because then you would have been with CM and Amy.
I mean, I will lie. When I go with people, I sometimes I'm kind of like choking back the tears. You know what I mean? But if I'm by myself, I just cry like a little girl. Like I just cry and cry and cry. As I'm crying, I was like, oh shit, I needed a good cry. And then Joe says, or is Nakia Queen? I don't know.
She would have been.
That's true.
She would have been.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, and we have to introduce now a prince.
Yeah.
Prince T'Challa.
Yeah.
So very, very interesting. Man, AA, I don't really give ratings, but fucking 10 out of 10. If the not watch this guys,
really
all the tacos.
For me, I would have been like 7 out of 10.
Oh wow, 7 out of 10.
Yeah, because I mean it was good, but it was just some things that it was. I mean, the Chadwick Boseman stuff that was just missing. That was just missing too damn much. Him and Namor would have just been so much. This would have elevated this movie so much more if Chadwick Boseman had been in here.
But that's looking at it from a point of view of what it was missing. But from what you got,
that's just me.
Still only a 7.
Yeah, because like I said, I thought she did a dumbass play at the end.
Yeah,
that was fucking stupid. She sacrificed too many Wakandans.
But as far as your enjoyability, though, like
it's good. It's a good movie.
Would you buy it? Would you buy a copy?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. See, I would 100%. I'm going to buy me a nice steelbook.
But I mean, like some of the stuff could have been edited down more.
Sure. Sure. There were some scenes that maybe.
Don't get me wrong, though. I enjoyed it. It a lot. I'm not going to say I hated this movie, but there's just some things like he was great. He makes this movie.
Oh yeah.
Seriously.
Oh yeah.
He fucking makes this movie.
Again, there's so many things that Ryan Coogler does right. Yes, he sends off a king with Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa, but then he also brings us a new king with Tenoch Huerta as Namor.
Yeah.
You're like, man, look at what this guy. And then he sets up a new T'Challa as I'm like, dude, you're giving us so much. It's like that's amazing writing, amazing storytelling, amazing directing. All that is just fucking amazing. Joe says we have a new prince. We absolutely do. And then he says, it's good enough, but it wasn't great. I think they all held a little back and allowed us to say goodbye to chat. Yeah, I agree, Joe. There probably was some of that. Joe, since you are here as the host of your own podcast, Now Watch This with Lucky and Joe, and you both have seen it, will you guys cover the Black Panther Wakanda Forever? Because you've both seen it. I'd love to hear you two's take on it. I have not heard any of Lucky's opinion, so I'd be curious to know.
Happy birthday to Lucky. I know it's late.
Happy belated birthday.
I know it's late, but happy birthday to
absolutely. Again, I did a 10 out of 10, but my criteria, as everybody knows, is always two things. Would I watch it again? I already did. And would I buy a copy? I will 100% buy a copy. And I'll
do both of those two. But Chadwick Boseman, very, very much missed. Yeah. And I know this probably wouldn't have been the movie if Chadwick Boseman had been alive. It probably would have been a little different.
I think Double A is absolutely right. And unfortunately, it's one of those things, right?
Like we talk about enjoyable, in sports, and you know what? They just set up a real badass character.
I wanted to see Tom Brady's Patriots go, 19-0 and then win the Super Bowl, but I didn't get that. In some multiverse that exists, in that same multiverse, I hope that Chadwick Boseman is the Black Panther and we see him and Tenoch Huerta face off, whatever. But
or lead. End up leading the fucking Avenger or whatever team you want to call it.
I would love that too. Marvel universe, I would absolutely love that too. And I still want this movie too. So yeah. and that multiverse, I'm a greedy motherfucker. But, yeah. It was a fun ride. It was a fun experience,
Yeah.
man, to go and actually see it with you and us have like a designated time to go and watch a movie together like this that we're going to cover. You know what I mean? So much fun. And then, you know, of course, the addition of Amy and Cal made it even better. So, guys, if you have not seen Black Panther Wakanda Forever, please go and watch it right now. Make time this weekend. Make time over the Thanksgiving holiday to go see it. And if you did see it, go see it again because you probably missed some things. There's probably things you're going to enjoy more.
Sam caught so much that I was like, shit, I should go see it again.
Yeah. As you go, I'll go again. Everyone wants to go again. Yeah, and the performances are wonderful.
Oh,
if you know nothing about Marvel movies or anything, you just get to go watch some great, powerful acting.
Yes, you do.
And if all you ever watched was Black Panther 1 and then you see Black Panther 2, I think you'll still enjoy it.
Nothing is forced down the throat whatsoever. Like, there's a lot of African Americans and there are a lot of Mexicans, but none of that is stuffed down your throat.
Yeah.
You don't even see it.
Nope.
Honestly.
It all happens very organically. It's just very organic.
Like, it's not power to the people. It's not any of that kind of shit.
No.
But, man, you feel proud.
You really do.
If you're a fucking Mexican, Latino, and you feel proud of your African American, like, seriously.
Yeah.
You feel, like, super proud on this movie.
Yeah. You really, really do. It's
without
wonderful.
it being forced down your throat whatsoever, you know.
And if you get a chance, check out again the official Black Panther podcast. I think it's only one episode. And it was really, really great to hear Ryan Coogler's thoughts. And then again, look up Tenoch Huerta right now because he's blowing up.
Tearing it up right now.
And he's so charming and he's such a wonderful guy. I want to wish him all the success and I want to see more Namor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if there's nothing else, Double A, two things we like to say, guys, at the end of every show is first, if you have something that you want to do, a hope, a dream, something you wish to accomplish, go out and do it. Now is the time. Seize the day. Everyone was seizing the day in this one, right? Too, like we talked about it with Black Adam. Is like, man, obviously,
Baku,
Namor showing up on the Wakandan coast and just getting right in the Queen's face.
Yeah.
So, guys, go and do it, man. Seize the day. Be like Namor and the people of Talokan. The other thing we like to do is quote the great Steve Rogers, Captain America, from the Marvel Universe himself before they go and bring everybody back after the blip. He tells them we got to do whatever it takes.
Yes.
A lot of people doing that in here too, doing whatever it takes. Shuri trying to save her brother, trying to recreate the heart-shaped herb. Nakia keeping her son safe. Queen Ramunda just defending her country. And then of course too, obviously, Namor. Who they never called the Submariner. Would you have liked to heard that?
I would have liked it.
That would have been pretty cool. We got to save a little bit, right?
Yeah.
We do get Imperious Rex, which is great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Emperor King. The famous Namor line, that's his famous, catchphrase, like Wolverine saying bub, you know what I mean? You gotta do whatever it takes, and these people all did whatever it took to get them to where they were, including the great Ryan Coogler creating this film after the passing of one of the icons of the Marvel universe. Chadwick Boseman,
for sure.
Guys, I'm CM Chuck.
I'm Double A.
We're just another Friday night, San Antonio's premier pop culture podcast with P Breaks. Check us out every Friday night, guys. If you can, please go give us a rating on iTunes or Spotify. Give us 5 stars. If there's somewhere that you can write a rating for us, I think it's mainly on iTunes. Please write us a rating that just says, hey, this is a great podcast and I really love it. 5 stars would be greatly appreciated. We've got a couple have come out recently, so go check it out. But if there's nothing else, Double A, we'll get out of here with, I think, one LIIK'IK Talokan on the way out. What do you think, Double A? And some of the and there we go. LIIK'IK Talokan. LIIK'IK Talokan. LIIK'IK Talokan.